Evening, everybody. Welcome to the Black Dragon Tavern. I'm your host, Dante. This is Deacon. Got a mouthful of chocolate chip cookies over here, it looks like. Here we are in episode 33. 33, I think. We do 33? We did 32. I've actually lost track.
Why are you looking directly at me?
It's been a whirlwind.
I don't count your episodes.
Because you were there. You were a point of focus.
No,
Why don't you,
Gryphon,
why don't you count? God.
Gryphon's with us this evening. He's off camera. He's only ready for his close up when we have the broadcast from the battle zone when we play the games here. Speaking of, like, we're gonna have to hook the other camera up. We're gonna have to do all this other stuff because I didn't set up for that because it got to be too late. If a certain person around here would just pitch in a little more and help with the stream, that'd be really fucking awesome. Yeah, that wasn't a passive-aggressive slap at you there at all. So.
Hey, man, I work.
Yeah, you work. Yeah, okay. All right, then. Well, I guess we can start paying rent then, huh? I'm not going to do that to you. As long as you don't eat that whole bucket of cookies. Anyway, welcome to the Black Dragon Tavern. And before we just get too deep into the shit talking over here, I just want to give a couple of shout outs real quickly. I want to say a huge thank you to Lantern Noir for sending his folks over to the channel a couple days ago. We weren't live, but I happened to stop in and check out his thread, and I told you it was super cool. Guy really just resonated with me because he was talking a lot of stuff that's really close to home here for me, and it was about my generation, and it was just a great conversation. And he said, right midstream, he goes, I don't ever really do this, but I'm going to do this. He's like, you know, every one of you should go over, check out Black Dragon Tavern. Looks like they're just getting started. And so he sent a bunch of people over. So we got a couple of followers there. I want to thank Polymorph for the follow. And then Brain Torn Out, thanks for the follow. Super appreciate that. And then, what else? And Kraken Inferno, thanks for the gifted sub, by the way. If you happen to catch this VOD later on, appreciate it, man. Really do. That's when Lantern Noir was going offline. They took a raiding party over to Kraken Inferno, so I was in that group and we were chatting for quite a while.
Nice.
And then just earlier this evening, I hosted Kraken Inferno's channel just for a little bit, just to get a feel for that. It's the first time we've ever hosted a channel, so I kind of did it under the radar without telling you. You were off busy doing your own thing, so. You know, I figured you wouldn't mind. We talked about it the other day. But, so.
I mean, for sending the followers over, it's only fair.
Yeah, totally. So I'm kind of excited, for several reasons. One of the big ones, though, is, as if you've been watching the stream for the last couple of weeks, you'll know I've been talking a lot about spinning up Roll20 again, and getting that going to get the RPG, get Dante's game going on there. And then for those of you who are new, I'll give you the real quick, I'm not going to give you the super detailed thing. We will be talking about it over this stream. That's kind of the purpose of this one, or the topic of this one. But Dante's game is my homebrew RPG. I've been running for about 42 years now. Been developing that world for that entire time. Pretty much since the first time I played D&D. I got the books. I wanted to become a dungeon master, and I real quickly learned to break away from the modules and just start homebrewing my own stuff and building my own adventure worlds. So the adventure world is really mature now. It's fleshed out, but it's not so fleshed out and worn and explored that there's nothing new to see or learn or discover. And hence, Deacon, when you were about, 10 years old, you started venturing in that world. And you've made several forays in and out of it, depending on when we can get groups together and whatnot. And now, I'm excited to say that we're going to be spinning part of that up, if not in its entirety, because that'd be a monumental project. But
getting a group who can be committed to make it every week or whatever.
Yeah. But spinning it up online in a virtual format, going from the physical tabletop. To Roll20.
Yeah.
And that's quite a monumental task. And just doing your character sheet alone has been like a Herculean effort. So, and I'm excited that when we get to It wasn't that bad. You could watch the progression, like from the first character sheet, which you still have. It has holes from erase marks, like erasing your hit points and all that stuff, and rewriting and erasing and rewriting. But to watch the progression go from chicken scratch to actually really nice penmanship is quite.
It's kind of funny because if you actually watch it for long enough, you'll notice a bell curve where it started off, like when I was learning how to write, it was really bad. And I got really good for a while, and then I started typing everything for school, and now if I try to write anything now, it's like illegible.
Yeah.
So
Chicken scratch again. Yep.
Yep.
It's the chicken scratch bell curve.
That's how it is. It's when you get to the point in school where they stop teaching you handwriting and you just start typing everything.
Yep.
And it's no longer part of the early elementary school teach kids how to write. It's like, oh.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because I just I talked to my coworkers a couple weeks ago about this study that I just read. There was a full blown research paper written on this that people who take longhand notes on pen and paper, that use pen and paper, pencil and paper, and write them out by hand, tend to solidify the concepts that they're taking notes on far better than people who type them on a computer. And that's probably they liken it to when you're on a computer and you can do it faster than writing by longhand, you tend to write things verbatim. You tend to type things verbatim.
Yeah.
So you're just repeating what you heard, and you're not building the concept in your own head from trying to interpret your own notes and that, like your handwritten notes. I mean, I know they're all your notes, but it was interesting.
They actually taught us that in school. In Can't remember what class. I think it was. They taught us it officially in English, 12th grade English. But I remember one of my old teachers in 8th.
Surprised you remember school.
Yeah. But one of my teachers in 8th grade, my homeroom teacher, he was like ahead of the curve on all that. He was going like off the books. He was just teaching like, hey, this is good information to know so that when you go into high school, you're going to be prepared for learning there because it's different than middle school. That part wasn't that accurate. It was pretty much just the same thing, but...
That's good. I love teachers that look out for their students like that and they think about their future growth and development. Because I'll tell you what, one of the funny things, speaking of learning and things that will help you learn in the future and starting off at a young age, and this is no joke, you can still find stuff online about this, like every once in a while it pops up, and it hasn't popped up in a long time in any of my groups or threads, and I'm really surprised, but most of my advanced vocabulary came from D&D. All these different terms like dais and brazier.
You know what's funny is those first two were actually the two examples that I was going to pull out that I thought of immediately.
That's what a lot of people go to because, in so many of the modules they talk about like a raised dais that's made of, whatever material and a candelabra atop the dais and, brazier burning in the corner. So, it's just funny. Those probably are, I would, unscientifically take a wild guess and say, I'll bet you those are probably two of the most common words that people learn from D&D, and a plethora of others too. But the whole point is like
including plethora,
possibly including plethora, preponderance, plenty. But the thing is, there were so many things that you had to look up in order to piton. What's a piton? I'd say piton. I had to look it up, and I found out it's actually a piton.
What it is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So all those types of really cool things, and people go, "Oh, you learned a couple words." It's like, but when you're writing essays in
it shows.
the 5th or 6th grade, and they're at like 9th, 10th, and 12th, 11th, 12th grade,
vocabulary.
Level, then the teachers start to take notice. So, but anyway, that's
I was also gonna say that teacher was awesome. He was. I can't remember the term for it. He was a licensed dude who could marry people.
Dude who could marry people.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's the title on his...
Exactly, yeah.
His ordained minister?
Yeah, an ordained minister. and he would do weddings for his friends where he would do the whole Princess Bride marriage speech for them.
Oh my god, that's classic.
So,
you know your mom's an ordained
Yep.
minister. Okay. So she actually, I think, did do a wedding for someone.
she do the
For
Princess
I think
Bride
maybe
speech.
for Marvick. I don't believe she did the Princess Bride.
Well, then she
version.
did it wrong.
Yeah.
She did it wrong. But anyway, so the topic for tonight is on the nature of creation. And all this talk and all this stuff that I've been doing in the last several weeks now has really gotten me inspired again. And I gave a little bit of a hint of that last time we broadcast, last time we did our live stream.
World building.
And yeah, we're talking about world
Yeah.
building. And we're talking about all kinds of. We actually had an episode that was specifically dedicated to world building.
was
Several
that not the
episodes
last
before
one?
that.
Oh, okay. I've
No, we
lost
just
track.
got on the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really been having show notes. If to the keen observer out there, who watches our live stream or our VODs after the fact, you'll probably notice I don't have show notes, and I haven't had them in quite a while, just because we found
Great,
that,
it's
like,
breaking away from all the lists, you know?
anyway, but I found that it's sort of like, I don't want to say liberating, because it's such an overused word, but it feels great just to be able to freewheel it, get on a topic, and really delve into it. And that seems to work out a little bit better. I know you don't like the list. I really don't, I mean, I try to compromise, but frankly, since we're both doing the show, and since you're freewheeling it most of the time,
Yeah,
and,
you gotta learn from the best, man.
yeah, so like, we'll talk about like who's carrying the show on at a later time. But anyway, point being, I thought this is a good thing to talk about because I'm inspired, I'm enthused again about doing this, and I was kind of dreading some of the conversion because going from such a rounded out game that's played in person to something that's virtual, and given the bad experience we had last year or 2 years ago with that, I was a little nervous about it. But everything started falling into place, and I'm really far down the line now. So once I wrap your character up, I have a couple adjustments to make on the other two pre-gens, the other two pre-gen characters, and then and I think we're good to go. And we are going to be blessed with Gryphon being a player in the one shot.
Waving. Camera.
So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to do this as a one shot on Roll20 over the channel here, and we'll broadcast well ahead, or we'll advertise well ahead when that's going to come up, so that we can hopefully get some traffic to watch it, because it would really, suck donkey balls if we didn't have anybody watching it, and I'd feel very like depressed and go off into a corner and probably cry.
Hey, but we'd have a good time playing at least.
Yeah, we'll have a good
Hopefully.
time playing for sure. And I hope it works out from a technical standpoint.
Might want to do a little dry run before stream, just to make sure.
Yeah, well, for sure on Roll20. And so if you're out there watching, we are looking for a player. We're looking for player number 3. We've got player 1, ready player 1. Player 2 is off camera over here. You can't see him, but you'll see him a little bit later on. And then we do need a third player. I'm going to run this kind of tight and lean for the at least for this episode that we're going to pilot the Roll20 one-off on. And we'll see how that goes. Maybe later on I'll open up the table for another person. But we're kind of seeing now that the technical requirements, I don't want to say they're really demanding, but we're really looking for somebody who's got solid connection, that's not going to drop all the time or stutter with their, not physically stutter, but like digitally stutter, because their connection is crapping out every 30 seconds or whatever. So that's a big concern of mine. I just want to make sure we can put some quality content out there. But it was really interesting, because I was telling you earlier, I was kind of like shooting you messages back and forth. Now the character that I'm converting is probably, I wouldn't say it's your first character.
No.
But it's probably your most loved character.
Was it? my first character?
No,
No,
because
not was it my most loved character.
we did. Well, I don't know. Like we did.
Vanali was afterwards.
Was Vanali afterwards?
Definitely afterwards.
Okay, but we did like Cowboys R Us back at Gen Con. That was the ad lib game, and you made up a character then who was technically a role playing character.
I guess I thought you meant like my first
Thorin-
character for Dante's game.
Thorin may have been your first character for Dante's game, because I can't find anything older than that. Tormund came after Tormund.
Tormund, Tor, Thrain, Thrall,
Thrain.
and I can't remember the
Yeah.
other T. All came after.
Yeah.
All from the same family. All almost the exact same character.
All dwarves too.
Yeah, well,
Except for Vanali, who was
Dark Elf
Drow.
assassin.
Yeah. Yep, Dark Elf. Yeah. But so what was funny was like so you get a kick out of this. I'm looking at his character sheet, right? and I wrote to him. I was laughing. I was literally laughing while I was reading it, and I'm translating this stuff from his writing, which, like I said, was going from chicken scratch to really nice penmanship. But it wasn't that was cracking me up. What was cracking me up was like all the fudging on this thing.
I wouldn't call it fudging. I would call it. I was like 10 years old.
I know, and I'm not poking fun. I'm not saying you did it on purpose, or I'm not saying
I was like
it was
10 years
malicious.
old.
Pull
You're
that
giving
sleeve,
me.
would you?
I was 10 years old. You're giving me like bonuses and detriments and percentages, and
Hey,
Dude,
but you learned math, didn't you?
well,
Which
that's
goes back to the yeah, that's true, because like even now I'm like, Deacon, add this bonus, and you're like, carry the I'm just kidding. But what was funny, Gryphon, was like
I don't think I even knew what the fuck a percent was when I was 10.
I'm seeing these numbers like erased and then like changed, and I'm like, how did you go from like 50% to 85%? Like what?
You know what I think it was?
What?
Stat changing items, because I didn't write. You have, I think, notes. Because I noticed this I have Tormund's character sheet upstairs too, and you have a section under the armor for notes about the armor.
Yeah.
And like Tormund had a ring of +1 protection, but
So does
or
Thorin.
not.
Thorin has a ring.
He had a ring of some kind, but I didn't write it under the notes. I wrote it under the stat block itself on Tormund's.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what I was doing is I went back. I literally went back to
Hey, in
the
my
beginning.
defense, I was like 10. I didn't know how to read.
But you did pretty good though. You know, it was just funny. But the bottom line was, I told Deacon over Discord to go,
Hey man,
this
I was
character,
10. I was barely alive.
I said, this character sheet looks like it was written by a 10-year-old. He goes, well, I was 10 years old when I wrote it. And I said, yeah, that's exactly what I mean, you know, because it was just so big and grandiose and like, you know, super buff, super nerfed, you know, and I'm like, that's all right, because I had so many good memories of running that game for you and your cousins.
Also, if you look at the other character sheets from that party, you know.
Yeah, everybody's was like hosed beyond. If I tried to go through there now and take any serious, do a serious audit or assessment of the characters,
Just have to
I'd
scrap
probably
and
just
make
like
new
stick
ones.
a pencil in my eye, you know. So that's what I did. Is I wound up. I took the core attributes, the scores, and I reworked all the bonuses the way they should be and adjusted them to where they needed to be. Put that into the Roll20 custom character sheet I'm doing. It's not truly a character sheet because it's part of the bio basically. Yeah. But I do have the attributes recorded in the attribute section, and I do have skills. And the cool thing is, I put in macros for all of the skills. So if you were going to try to do tracking, you have when you click on your character to highlight the character, the token, it'll pop up an action bar for you at the top, and then they'll say retracts, tracking, tailing, you know.
There
and then
are
you
a
just
lot
click
of
that
them, though.
button, and it rolls. Oh, I know, your bar goes like to 2 lines. Yours goes to 11.
Yeah.
You had a lot of skills because you bought skills too with your experience points. But so
not only that, but I was some weird combination. I think I can't remember. I was a witch hunter, which is already like a dual class. But I
bounty
was
hunter and
well, I was gonna
low level spellcaster basically.
Well, I was gonna say like I was a witch hunter, which was already a dual class. But I was, if I remember correctly, and I may be misremembering, I was also like hybrid classing that with another one.
You were trying to pick up skills as a thief.
Yeah.
So you got set detect, disarm, and set traps.
Yep.
So that was one.
Lock
You also
picking.
had hide. I think you may or may not have had lock picking. I can't remember. But
I'll just write it on there and make it look like a 10-year-old.
Yeah. But you had your man ankles. So
I had the man ankles.
and so those are things like in order to make it easy, because like Jesus Christ, I'm not kidding. You had like 3 inventory sheets of shit that you collected over the
Yep.
I don't know how many years you played with that, but you got to level 5, which in my game is like virtually impossible because it gets really tough. And then plus like like I don't screw around like D&D, like mine's pretty gritty right out of the gate. Even
I wasn't gonna say that. I was gonna say, I feel like we should mention for you, I at least didn't think you mean tough as in like challenging fights or whatever tough. It is, but I thought you meant more from like you just earn XP really slowly tough.
well, that was me being bad about not delving it out when it should have been given out.
Oh.
And then so that's why if you think back on it, that's why I would say everybody take X number of XP because I owe you from last time, and let's just round it up.
Okay.
And that was just bad bookkeeping on my part, and I tried to do that, and that's where it was a weird transition period because that was between I had developed my digital DM screen for the laptop with all the rollers and the stats tracking and all that stuff, and between operating systems it stopped working, and it wasn't until Windows came out with the next revision that it started working again because the company that made the ebooks. Because what?
I said because Windows 8 was horrible.
Well, yeah, there's that. That was a huge part of it. But then the company that made the ebook software did an upgrade, and they said, "Yeah, we're gonna do this." And sadly, I think that was the last one because they still maintain it, but they don't do any updates. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, so all the conversions were really kind of like I looked at it and I said, "What are you gonna need for this adventure, just for this one-off?" And I stripped it down pretty. I didn't get rid of your stuff. All your character sheet and all your possessions are still there. Because you guys had a manor.
So
you had a manor with tons of stuff stored there. You had a bag holding.
Yeah.
You had a crate.
Yeah.
There was a crate full of stuff, and I was like,
"Hey man, the crate was in the bag of holding."
I don't think it was because there's weight limit to the bag of holding. It's like 750 pounds or something for the bag of holding that you guys had. Yeah, and then that's why you had stuff delivered on a cart.
Oh,
to
also,
Whitehall.
I should have mentioned. You said I had 3 inventory pages worth or whatever. That's not counting the bag of holding inventory page, which is still upstairs.
Oh yeah,
so,
I don't know where that one came from, but there was one down here where a bunch of stuff does say BOH. Yeah, bag of holding, and then underneath it's like armoire, bag of holding, BOH or whatever. Chest of drawers, BOH. Like you got furniture for crying out loud. Like
we found it in the dungeon, man. We
Yeah,
could
I
have
know.
put it in Whitehall.
That's unbelievable.
Why would you take home furniture that you found in a dungeon?
Well,
Right, when he's sitting on a pile of like 15,000 gold pieces or silver pieces or whatever the hell it was.
So you do this really cool thing where you like really go into detail describing it, and you were describing it, and I was like, that sounds like a cool armoire. That would go great in here. Oh,
and he was busy writing notes,
Yep.
furiously writing notes, and then he stops and says, "Hey, what's an armoire?"
Dusty.
Classic gaming moments like that. That's what makes it worth it for me.
If you push the bones off it, wipe off some of the blood. I think this
Get the
rug,
rat turds out of it.
yeah, get the rat turds out of it. I think this rug that we found in this dungeon would go great in our house. It'd really tie the whole room together.
the room together. Yeah, there you go. Just hope nobody pisses on it.
Yeah.
Mictrates. But yeah, so that was kind of fun to go through all that stuff.
That's we used to say it was less of like a the dungeons were less of like a dungeon crawling experience and more of like a shopping trip.
A shopping trip. Yeah.
It's like going to IKEA.
Right. I always said IKEA. Yeah.
Say IKEA.
But yeah, I mean, and that last haul, I remember you guys had a freaking wagon loaded with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You had 3 taxidermied wolves being delivered to the manor. Like, wow, it was wild. This like if I took my notes and I shared them with Jolly Blackburn, he'd have volumes for like till he's dead and beyond, you know, for Knights of the Dinner Table. It's just classic shit.
Hey, reach out to him, man.
Yeah, I should really connect that that dot there. But you know,
Just
so
wait until I play a Mecha Magician and I get all the stuff I take on top of the stuff I'm making.
Oh god.
yeah, you'll have like every little spring and like coil like recorded on your inventory sheet. I had it on my workbench. It was on my worksheet. I know it was in my inventory sheet. But yeah, so there's some really good memories there doing that. But what's challenging is like with Roll20, the system, it's pretty good. It's I won't say it's like super awesome, you know, because I haven't hit that level yet of being able to determine whether or not it is you know, whether or not it is or is not super awesome. But I know, like I said before, a couple episodes back, from a homebrew perspective, it's infinitely more challenging to do this kind of a thing with a homebrew game than it is for something off the shelf like, you know, Cthulhu or Cyberpunk or D&D. Yeah, because people have just tons of material there for that. And they have character sheets that are done that have macros built in, and they automate a whole lot of the process. Like I took somebody's D&D macro and I built a little button for it in the character sheet so you guys can hit one button, roll initiative. And when you roll initiative, it puts you in the turn order, in the order in which like you should go, you know, by like the initiative score that you rolled. So it's those kinds of things that I think will make it easier this time.
I'm curious to see how that on Roll20 stacks up to other things, because we used for a game I was playing in last year, around this time actually, last year, a bit earlier maybe, we used can't remember what it's called. It's like Roll20, although it's an actual like software that you have to download.
Yeah.
And our DM had the Pro subscription, which was like a one-time, I think,
I'm breaking into some snacks.
Yeah. It's like a one-time $160 purchase, and it came with all of that stuff built in. So like, you didn't have to set up any macros or whatever for initiative. You just like, hey, do you want an initiative thing? Here's the thing. Choose what die you want to use for initiative. So
that's cool. This way, you set it all up ahead of time, unless you're getting it from somebody who already did the work, and then you don't have to really set it up. Because with the D&D character sheets, there's a community character sheet that a lot of people use, and they refer to, and I can't remember what the name of it is. It may even just be like D&D Roll20 community character sheet. And you fill out the stats, and it'll auto-calculate all your bonuses, you know, and where you get advantage and where you don't, and all that, your initiative and your initiative bonus. And then it has a little die, 20-sided die that you can click on to roll for initiative, and it'll populate it right into the turn order. So, you know, but again, like somebody's already done that programming. And when I say programming, I mean programming, because they've got their whole own proprietary language that you can use to do the coding for this stuff. You can use HTML and CSS to build the framework and the presentation layer, the cosmetics, but then you've got like calls that you have to make for executing certain commands, you know, and doing calculations and whatnot. And where it gets challenging is like, you know, starting from scratch. Like there are probably templates I could take and like modify, but oh my god, we wouldn't be playing till next year, you know, right?
Yeah.
My prescription, my subscription would be running out, and my goal is to build something up real quick, check it out, and then invest a little more time into it, and then, like I said, I will likely keep it after the year is up, because I could see now like how this could become addictive. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of an old program, a map-making program I used to have called Dungini, and you would do these.
That.
You know, nowadays everybody calls them battle mats. I've been calling them battle mats for a while, but they were just maps. They were just dungeon maps, and it didn't matter if it was a dungeon or a tavern or a forest. They were just dungeon maps, right? and they were gridded or hexed. So in Dungini, you put the wilderness out there, and then you can put little little artwork, like here's a broken wagon from the top-down view, or you get the, what is it, what do they call it? Isometric
2.5D.
Yeah, so you could do maps like that as well. But that was addictive, just to build out a room and say, like, wow, I can really, for the first time, take some of these things that I've described for 42 years now, and then put it into like a visual representation of that, and that's what makes it exciting. And even if I can just get close to it, like I did with this map I'm using of the Saucy Jack, probably the most famous tavern in my whole world there.
Yeah.
Just to be able to put stuff in there, and then like the private booth with the curtain, and then put the tokens in there, and like, this is it. This is what I've been telling you guys for years. This is every time we came, I described the interior of this place, and it's not exactly like it, but it's good enough to take the theater of the mind concept and then take it and extend it, a step or two further.
Yeah.
And then so this is what I was reading the other day. Like, of course, everybody's going to have their opinion about it, and I'm trying not to be that person who's like, nah, that sucks, you need to do it this way, because I hate telling people, you game however it makes you happy. If it's not for me, it's not for me. I'll be polite about it, but I might not play it, right? I mean, because we can make our own choices.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw this thread the other day where somebody was talking about theater of the mind. Theater of the mind, that's the way to go. That's the only way to go. That's how you have to do it. You don't need minis. You don't need. And I looked, I saw a thread and I shrugged, like, each to their own. That's great. You don't like minis. I got no problem with that. But don't tell other people like that's the only way to go, and you don't need this, and don't prescribe what other people should do. So I would take that whole theater of the mind thing, like I said, and take that a step further. You're not taking away theater of the mind when you're using minis. So you gonna make it?
No.
I think you can. Made it. But I think you can take theater of the mind and still preserve the concept, but add additional elements. Now you've got a 2D representation of it.
Yeah.
You still need your imagination to imagine those characters moving around in that environment, right? Or if you put a 3D version of it on the table with, like, let's say Dwarven Forge pieces, for example, and you build out a tavern, you still need theater of the mind to move your miniatures around and say, I want to leap across this table. Now, most people aren't going to go boop. I mean, some people do. They're silly about it, but like most of the time, you push your mini, you put it up there, and you leave it, and you describe what you're going to do. Because I don't think I've seen one person in my entire life take a mini and go, I'm gonna grab it, I'm gonna leap up, I'm gonna swing on the chandelier, and I'm gonna go over. It's like, okay, that's fine. If you want, maybe they were being silly. I don't know if they were being serious or what, but point is, it still takes that imagination, to be able to conceive of that action that you want to do. So it's not like you're taking theater of the mind away.
Yeah.
You're just adding some other visual elements there that may make it a little bit easier and a little more accessible for others who can't visualize that. Because that's the other side of that token, is trying to make the games more accessible for everybody in numerous ways. Not just accessible like, hey, can I play that game? No, it's a private game. It's, you're cut off from it. Not that kind of accessibility. But accessibility to people who may have challenges or impediments in certain areas, and so it's difficult for them to participate in those types of things, So that's kind of a cool way to think about it. And I think one of the most surprising things for me, and I don't know why, because I kind of get like this every time I go through these cycles, but one of the most pleasantly surprising things for me was finding that level of excitement again about writing scenarios now. Writing scenarios again, writing adventures again for you and the group. And hopefully Gryphon will enjoy the game. And then hopefully you'll want to stick around, roll up a character, and you know, then we need to figure out, like, do we want to do this at the table or do we want to continue to do this online? Because either way, we can broadcast it. So.
And they each present their own problems, really. Finding somebody with like good internet connection, or finding a way to get the cameras to work for the table. You know.
That I'm not so worried about. That I've got an idea for. And it's pretty similar to the way that we've been doing the battle zone. I have a camera on this end of the table pointing at the table itself, and then instead of a close-up camera over there on the wall, instead of a close-up camera facing the table, I'd have one facing me as I'm in the DM's chair. The one that's over here, I would lower for a different perspective, so you could see the table a little bit better, but still see the players sitting on either side of it. So we wouldn't need to do the Knights of the Dinner Table shot where everybody's on this side of the table and the camera's over there. It would be on the end, looking down like we do for the battle zone. So you get the players on the left and the players on the right. But the camera will also pick up the terrain in the middle. And maybe we can find a way to do another close-up camera. But the challenge with that is, like,
well, 3 cameras is pushing it.
Well, it is. It is, but also, how do you move, like, when the action moves from that side of the table to this? Like, well, now the camera can't pick it up, you know, because now we've got to move the camera or whatever. So I think it's sort of like, I think that's a big challenge for people who run tabletop games like that and try to live stream them. And I'll tell you, in the last couple of weeks, I've been really watching the hell out of Twitch, bouncing from channel to channel to channel, meeting a whole lot of cool people, by the way. And there are only, I can count on one hand the number of channels that I've watched where people have run a live RPG where they've done it from one side of the table down the middle.
Yeah.
Because most people are doing 2 table cameras, and then they split the screen. So everybody looks like they're all lined up like Critical Role style. You know what I mean? So they're either all on one side of the table with a camera opposite them, or you've got players here and players there, but each one has their own camera on their table.
Yeah.
What's up?
Fucking stupid. I was like, where's my drink? Where's my drink? I was looking for that, but...
You drank it, crushed the can, and threw it away.
Yeah.
It's alright. So, I noticed you were looking at your watch, or the clock. It's about 20 till.
Yeah.
Let's just roll with this through till 9 or whatever. It's going to take a little while to set the table up too. And again, if you're tuning in for the first time, we do this every Friday and Saturday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central. And on Friday nights, well, we've switched things up, and it keeps going back and forth, so it's kind of difficult at this point to commit to a schedule. But usually what we do on one of the nights is we do the first hour of Fireside Chat, where my co-host Deacon and I will sit here in front of the fireplace and just shoot the shit about whatever we decide we want to talk about that week. And then during the second half of the show, we broadcast from the workbench. And Deacon, if you'd pop the camera, actually you can't because I got them unplugged for the bandwidth. So we broadcast from the workbench, where we do miniature painting, kit bashing, and general bitching about our workspaces and stuff like that. And then, like, usually the following night, we will do the first hour Fireside Chat, second hour from the Battle Zone. You've heard me mention that several times tonight. And that's effectively just from our game table, where we play tabletop games.
Yeah.
Go figure. Card games, dice games, board games, you name it.
Soon,
hopefully soon.
RPGs.
And
the Crusade.
Warhammer 40,000.
Yep.
So that's a big one that we're prepping for. Mostly I'm dragging my feet. I'm having to learn the rules, but we'll see.
I've noticed that you slowed down with your looking at the rules and all that. And yeah, well, you've slowed down on that. I've been studying. While you were doing nothing, I studied the blade. I've practiced. I've sharpened my skills. So I know 30 ways to kick your ass.
See, I'm gonna have to drag my ass in like an old samurai and dust off my katana, huh?
Yeah, sure. Something like that.
Don't make me get the death guard out on you. That would be kind of cool, though, to run your Templars, your Black Templars against the death guard. Why didn't we write a scenario for that?
Because you said you wanted to use the Imperial Fist for this?
I actually didn't. You took the lead on it.
Oh. You told me to take the lead on it, so...
Yeah,
we could.
It's all becoming clear now.
We could do that. We could run that, but I'd just have to rewrite some stuff.
Campaign
might...
destined for failure. An army set out on a fool's errand. See this and more.
It might actually make it easier for me to write that, because then I'm trying to write battle for two forces that just naturally dislike each other and are already fighting somewhere else, most likely, instead of two chapters who are very close together and work together all the time. So
yeah, I was, first of all, I'm impressed that you managed to pull that off.
I am too, yeah.
Again, and it just goes back to, like, if need be, you can really come up with just about any scenario. And once you get a couple of key pieces in place, key pieces of the puzzle, everything else starts to just fall into place. So when you came to me and you're like, I've got 10 adventures for this crusade, I was like,
battles.
What? Battles.
God, Dad, they're battles, not adventures.
Gosh. Forgive me.
Here's an idea. Orcs.
I like the idea of orcs. What about them?
Those orcs.
Yeah, I know. You're talking about, like...
Well, I'll have 50 power level eventually for the crusade.
Well,
so...
Twitch, we'll see you next year as he finishes painting. Or doesn't finish painting and winds up with 7 new armies. Several armies later.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You got the plaster crack habit.
I know exactly what he's talking about. I know what he's talking about, and I've only known you for like...
I can tell you. I can predict now, okay? Here. I see in your immediate future, immediate being Christmas, prior to Christmas actually, as you continue to flesh out your ever-growing Christmas list.
Well, I've stopped actually.
I see a new attraction. I see it's a band of women warriors, and they're like a sisterhood, and they're badass.
They did just come out with a new army box set for that.
It's almost like I had that planned.
Did you? I wouldn't complain.
I will never tell.
Here's what I'm hopefully looking forward to. The Badger Patriot 105 model airbrush. Because I'm hoping that will really be, I think, the next big thing that I need to kind of, like, kickstart me into not only painting things better, but faster too, because one, I can prime stuff with it inside, which is going to let me prime all of that stuff, and the 5 Space Marine armies out there that I don't have primed, so I can prime those, and then just base coat them real fast, start getting stuff done.
Plus
quick.
the 3 new. Let's see, you only have Tau to go, Necron, Sisters of...
Well, if you're going that route, Tyranids,
yeah, but I thought you said you want Tyranids.
No, I don't. I don't want Tau either, so...
You heard it first.
I want, like, some of the Tau models,
We're
but,
going to
like...
start a betting pool here.
Yeah.
Twitch.
I want, like...
How long will it be before it behaves?
There's, like, 3 Tau models that I want, And that's...
This is exactly how it started.
Well, no.
Oh, I got these 3 models because they were badass, and I just wanted to paint them up and just have them as a collector and put them on the shelf.
Well,
and then we saw that because then you got the with the and the Blood
Name
Angels from
one-
the Space Hulk kit, and then I
Name
can
one-
paint, and then all of a sudden it's like
Name one army that started like that.
all of them.
No. Well, the Ultramarines, yes.
Tell the truth, all of them.
Nope. No. The Ultramarines did, because that was when I got into 40k and I liked the Marines, and they were on the front of every single Marine box set that you can find.
Orcs.
Nope.
Orcs.
Well,
Christmas diorama. Like as we started building.
no, I had the list built out at the end of high school before we even talked about the Christmas diorama. I just didn't have a use for it, so I didn't buy it. And then they were like, hey, we need a non-Imperium player for the Crusade, and I'm like, this is my time. So,
Catachan.
I really like
Look
the
at
lore.
this fucking smile, Twitch. Look at this face.
I like the lore. I like the lore.
But you see, and like
They're cool.
And like my poor old grandmother, was suffering and said like, what would make me happy, Sonny, is if you bought a new army.
Okay.
Should I continue, or should we just leave it
Well,
at that?
okay, I might count Blood Angels. And the reason that I say I might count them is because the only reason I started the Blood Angels was because I had 3 named characters for the Blood Angels. One of them was already assembled and painted up to a pretty good degree.
It's the Holy Trinity syndrome. It's like it always
Yeah.
starts with 3 minis with this guy.
Yep.
It's always 3 minis. I don't know what it is. It's just 3 minis, man. I just need 3 minis. That's it. Like, junky.
The Blood Angels I started because I had the named characters, or I had the named models for them already. And I just had all of the models I would need to make an army for them just sitting unpainted. So I was like, why not,
Why not? Why not throw hundreds and hundreds of dollars more?
Well, I haven't spent a single dollar on it, actually.
No, this is true. Like
$0 and, well, I don't know.
Except
like
for the
$3.
Catachans, except for the Orcs, except for the... Should I keep going?
No.
I'll stop there.
But let me tell you, I was looking at Chaos stuff. The Emperor's Children are really cool, and the Thousand Sons are really cool.
Thousand Sons, that's the ones I'm playing, right?
No.
Children of Dorn? Or no, what are they?
You sure you're not the one on crack?
I might be. I told you, I have like... Oh, do I do my global confession on Twitch? Like,
I do crack. I'm just quirky like that.
yeah. Like I avoided, and I sound like a broken record. I avoided 40K
Okay.
for...
thought you were gonna say I avoided drugs for many years.
Yeah.
But
I was finally driven to being forced to take drugs.
So you
to
have
stop listening to 40K stuff.
yeah. You have Death Guard.
I have Death Guard.
They're
because
the Chaos ones. Dark
Yes.
Imperium.
I have
Split the
Death
box
Guard
set.
only because we split the box set.
Yep.
Because you really wanted the box set, and I said, okay, I'll play with you.
Yep.
But you have to paint these up, and you have not
that's
finished
not true.
painting them up.
Oh, all of them. Well,
All of them. It wasn't paint just 2 of these, paint just 7 of these, paint 12. Like, paint them all, base them. That was the deal.
All right, but also
People might say that sounds like a rotten deal, Dante. Why did you, you play, but he's got to paint them?
Don't forget, recently they have seemed to go from a nice just about 2,000 points to up to 4,000, which is a lot more to paint.
Death Guard?
Yeah.
Why?
All of John's stuff.
What?
Yeah. Like 4 Hell Turkeys, a Land Raider, 2 Rhinos, a Chaos Lord.
Oh,
Typhus.
I'm not worried about all that right now. I just want that main army that came in the box set, the little add-ons that we put in there,
Okay.
the special models, the Hell Turkeys and all the John stuff. That'll get painted at some point. it would be nice, you know, to have it all, but like, if I could get that whole painted army, that'd be kind of cool. That would be nice. Then I could turn around and sell it for a fortune.
I'm planning on inheriting that.
Yeah, man, that's worth a lot of money. Like,
Imperial Fists.
I
are
wouldn't.
the other
I wouldn't
ones.
sell that. What's that?
I said Imperial Fists.
Yeah. Well,
the
those
other
were
ones.
John things
Yes.
too. Those are part of the collection that we inherited. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know where you were getting like the Thousand Sons.
When I
of
say
Dawn.
inherited, I mean he didn't
okay.
die. He gave them to us.
Yes. No, he's very much alive still.
Mostly.
For now.
I think I see where you're getting like the Thousand Sons, the Sons of Dorn. the
Yeah, I
Thousand Sons of
confused
Dorn.
them.
No,
Yeah.
the Thousand Sons are of Magnus the Red, the traitor, who did everything wrong. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And they are all psychers, and it's really annoying to fight them because they have all his dust. Because I can't remember what happened. They were about to get wiped out, something like that. And Ahriman, the first captain, was like, "Hey, I can do this really cool thing. It'll stop you from dying. Just trust me." And because he was the first captain, they were like, "Sure." So he turned all of them into dust and sealed them in their armor forever. So basically, because
Sounds like a real fun kind of a guy.
yeah, so because you're not actually fighting something that's like flesh and blood, they just have like a 6-up feel no pain, like old Death Guard style.
Wow.
So
Jeez. Well, I want to bring this all the way back around to the original topic.
world building, because 40K has a lot of it.
Yeah, we could talk about 40K world building, but that's not quite like the same as a role playing game, a fantasy role playing game,
No.
because they're pretty.
Well,
the
you know
lore,
what,
the
you know
lore
what
for
Warhammer has? A fantasy RPG.
they
There
do
you
have
go.
a fantasy RPG, but having said that, most people that play by the book, therefore they're using the lore that is already in print,
Yeah.
and that's canon to them, and that's all they know. So I'm talking about like going beyond and creating
Beyond this.
your own, you know, beyond the conventional. That was an old advertisement. It showed these orcs, these like kitted out orcs, fantasy orcs, and I think it was for Dragon Magazine. It was an ad in the back of Dragon Magazine, and it said beyond the conventional. And ever since I was a kid, that stuck with me. And in fact, it used to be in one of my binders, one of my many binders of rules down there that you call them. And I had that for years and years and years. I toted that around. I may have finally just let it go and given up the ghost on it. But there's a folder around here somewhere with a bunch of old stuff like that. Maybe it's still in there. But, so, fantasy role-playing and the idea of creating worlds and the idea of creating characters and NPCs, it's kind of funny. Like, I found as I was fleshing out this scenario for this one shot, that all of a sudden, it took over from me. It took over and was writing itself. And then I realized the direction that it was going would dovetail perfectly back into the campaign where you
cannot
guys all
reveal
left
any
off.
spoilers.
And I cannot reveal any spoilers. I want to. I'm so freaking excited because there are so many cool hooks and tie-ins there. And it's not like the cattle trains coming to town, like, you know, you guys gotta go here.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the way that I write these things is like, yeah, I could say, start you off in one area and give you some flavor text and kind of tell you what's going on. And you pud pullers will all be like, yeah, screw that. We're going over here. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that's what's throwing people off about me as a
what were you
GM
about
for
to say?
years.
Were you about to say, and then I'll end your party or something like that? 'Cause
No,
that's what it sounded like you were gonna
no, I would never do that. I'd let you guys do that.
say. Yep.
Give them enough
Yeah.
rope. Wasn't that a Clash album? Give them enough rope.
Something like that.
Give them enough rope to hang themselves. You know, but the point is, like, that's why I think I've frustrated so many players. I'm not talking about good players. I'm talking about players who want to nerf the game or fuck with the DM, you know, because they're like, yeah, we're going to go here. I'm like, great.
Cool.
You know, flip to that page and say, okay, you find yourself in a blah 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 blah, and they're like, what? Huh? You know, and then like the minute they want to be Billy Badasses going around town, I got the NPCs all lined up. I got the local laws and the customs, so it's kind of funny. But the thing is, like, when you get going on a storyline, it's kind of odd. What was that?
Sure.
Oh, jeez. Lay off the cookies. Oh, I even got a grunt, a growl. Anyway, that whole creative process, just, I love when it starts to flow like that. And then so it made me think, like, okay, well, I'm doing this one-off, and I know I started off very intentionally wanting to create a single one-shot, one-off game to do on the channel so we could test it out, see how that goes. And then it just inspired me to really start thinking about spinning the big campaign back up. And then everything just went from there, which led us all the way back around to bringing up Thorin. So for the first time ever, first time in 42 years, I've pulled a character out of retirement.
That's
I
impressive.
have never done that for anyone else, but for you, my son, this I will do. And
So-
I'm super excited about it too.
I am too. It's gonna finally give me a chance to actually retire his character, rather than just one day the session stopped being scheduled and he went into like short notice retirement. So
Yeah, you know, and the thing is, like, I need to learn to let go in terms of, like, I have ideas for Thorin, and whether they're done through you as the player controlling Thorin, or whether they're done through me with Thorin as an NPC, that remains to be seen. And I've been dropping hints, like you said, you know, then I can, you know, then that's a good way for me to retire him. And I'm like, you sure about that? You know, because there's so much more ahead of him that he's got to accomplish. So that's an idea. But, you know, and I was very honest about it. I was, like, kind of hesitant. You've asked me before, what would you think about me bringing so-and-so back? I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like we kind of went down that road. That whole arc and storyline, I'm not opposed to it, but it's just always been the kind of thing where there's a lot of adjustments that need to happen. And that's what's happening with Thorin. I'm making some.
Yeah.
I've got to make some calls on what would have changed in the time between where you left off with him
and
where he's at, where you're at now, or where he's going to be.
What if I want to bring back Venali, who has 2 followers, a boat, a stash of money, and his own island?
And 7 heirs, right? So when he dies, they can all start to. You're starting to sound like Brian from Knights of the Dinner
Well, I
Table.
wasn't
now.
making any of that
There's
up, to be
Raspberry
honest.
Lotus, and there's Black Lotus, and there's Jade Lotus, and
Yeah.
there's Burgundy Lotus, and it's like all the
Burgundy
lotuses.
Lotus?
Yeah, they're all the lotuses, and they're all.
That's his family.
And what happens is, like, he creates a will, and last will and testament, so that when his character dies, it goes on to his heir apparent, who just happens to be another lotus under a different name. So there's been, like, Jade Lotus and Burgundy Lotus, and I can't remember all the other ones, but
So many,
yeah,
yeah.
so many of the lotuses. And so that's one thing that, like, the struggle is real, and that's why Jolly wrote about that, and that's why I try to keep that out of my game, is that inheritance thing, you know. But
Well, that's good because Venali didn't inherit anything. You know, he helped out a town, and then he got a shit ton of money and bought some stuff.
you know, I mean, I guess it depends on, like, how we look at that. Like, you can
Yeah, I
obviously,
know.
you know, like, a parallel campaign. What am I going to do? Run a campaign for you and a group, and then you and another group, or you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I mean, that didn't have a group.
No, it didn't. It was
No.
solo.
Yep.
Solo play. It was solo. Nobody could see it or hear it. Wah, wah. Which is like that group that I was telling you about the other day. I think it's called Roll for Two RPG or something like that. And it's a husband and wife, and he runs the games and she plays the character,
That's
and
cool.
then he plays the NPCs, and then they live stream it at their table, and they got little dungeons set up and all that stuff. Yeah. So I mean, it can be done. Like, we've done that in the lean times, in the mean lean times.
The Great Depression.
the
is what I call
great
it.
RPG depression. So now the challenge is going to be finding.
Mainly just Gen Con. When I was like tiny down because I was so young, you couldn't actually go to any room parties or anything.
I don't look at it like that. Like you were tying me down. You know, I could have just strapped you to the bed and left you there, put a gag in your mouth, and
God.
night night. Totally would not have done that. I would have left the gag off you. It'd be too hard for you to breathe. But you know, so the point is, yes, I've run solo RPGs for you, so I'm not. What you looking at over there?
It's the cord.
The cord. What's going on with the cord?
Nothing. I was just seeing the light reflecting off it.
Oh, okay. It's freaking me out there for a minute. Is it moving? Is it a snake? It's like, I don't think we have snakes in Wisconsin, but it's kind of cold.
Fucking snakes on my motherfucking laptop.
That just threw my whole train of thought off. Solo RPGs, yep. And then, you know, like the smallest group, and we can't really call you a group.
No.
But the smallest group was, we got down to 2 players at one point when
in between
Ruby left the table, and then we picked up another player, and that didn't last very long.
Nope.
And then, you know, and then we soon recovered from that. So three has been about the average
and
over the last decade.
3 is like a good number. You can
It
get
is pretty
through
good.
pretty fast, you know.
Yeah.
Turns go fast so that everybody gets back around to their part. Like,
Yeah, because I'm not using modules, it doesn't require a whole lot of like extra planning of like, you know, okay, well we've got a rogue and a wizard, and we've got a monk, and we've got a fighter, and we got a ranger, and we have, you know, it's like, wow, you just went through the book and picked one of everything, you know, and then that does slow things down. I'm not saying it's not fun; it can totally be fun, but we've learned to run so lean and so fast that, you know, I can adapt to that. So.
Yeah.
So once again, Twitch, if you know somebody who would like to play on what?
No, we don't really want to. I don't think we want to open up to just people on Twitch.
Well,
you know,
not just anybody on Twitch. Like most of the people that are watching this are people that we know. So
I know.
To all of our friends,
yeah,
you know. And it's not that we're like antisocial. I mean, that's the whole point of role playing and playing games.
No, of course not.
To be
but
inclusive.
It's like.
But the point, I get it.
Yeah, if
because
we're bringing somebody on, putting our
Oh,
reputation
sorry about that.
on the line,
It's
we don't
kink
want
in my
somebody,
neck.
you know.
I'm trying to do something that's twofold here. First and foremost, find somebody who can play one session for a one-off, anywhere from like maybe 2 to 4 hours. You know, I'm not sure how long the game will run. I gotta take a try run through it, and then it would be nice if we could get that person to transition over to in-person tabletop games. You know, and then we could do that like every other week or whatever here and broadcast it. But, God damn it. You yawned and now I yawn. It's contagious. So, I still have a little work ahead, but everything is falling into place nicely.
That's good.
The settings, like, that's all done. That's all, they've written themselves over the years. So now it's plot and characters and NPCs. And that's come along pretty nicely. I did find some tie-ins. That's what I was struggling with last time when we did the live stream last weekend. Was I did all the maps. I did it because like I set the maps up first in Roll20 to get to know how they work and how the tokens work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are actually kind of cool. I like these settings. Okay, now what am I going to do in these settings? You know, why do I have these? But then once I opened that door, everything else fell into place. Well, I think probably what we should do, since it's like almost 10 after 9, is go on a little break here and then come back from the battle zone. We got to set up the other camera and get the game out. So we're gonna take a little break here for 15 minutes or so, and we're gonna come back from the battle zone, where tonight we're gonna be playing Days of Wonder's Mystery of the Abbey, and it's sort of like. Was it War of the Roses? It was a movie with Sean Connery, and he played a monk, and there was a murder at the Abbey, and they had to investigate it. I'm pretty sure it was War of the Rose. Or the name of the Rose. That might have been the one, not War of the Roses.
Yeah.
I think that was a different movie.
I know.
It's like Christian Slater, one of his first movies, like super young. And then Sean Connery. So it's a good game by Days of Wonder, and we will be playing that tonight with our friend Gryphon. He's here to hang out with us. So we will be back in about 15 minutes. Hope you stick around. We'll see you then.
Yeah. See you then.
Shuffle the 24 suspect
And we're
cards.
back.
Ah, look at that.
Hello and
Okay.
welcome to the Black Dragon Tavern. I'm your host, Deacon.
I'm your host, Dante, and give us just a minute here to get this camera hooked up and going here.
Jeez.
You sound okay?
No, I ripped the cuticle earlier.
It's trying, I think.
No, it's not. Is it plugged in?
It is plugged in.
Right, well, light would be on.
Take the go over here, Deacon, to the USB thing. Pull that cord out and then plug it back in. Okay. Now let me see if I can get this to change.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Oh, we're gonna have to do this stupid thing too.
Yep. Do you mind if I grab some pretzels and drink real quick?
No, that's fine. Do you need anything, Gryphon?
Nah, I'm good.
Deacon, grab me a drink too while you're up there, please.
Yeah, it does seem like it might be a hot second while we sort out all the technicals.
Yeah. So the problem is we haven't streamed from here in quite a while, and so the whole setup is kind of janky. But I think we just recovered. So looks pretty decent. Let's get this squared up right here. All right, while Deacon's up there running to get some snacks and drinks, we are playing. Let's see if I can put this in front of the camera here. Mystery of the Abbey by Days of Wonder. And this is an investigation game for 3 to 6 players. Takes approximately 60 to 90 minutes to play. We're going to probably be somewhere in between. Once I get going, I'll remember the turns and everything. There is a weird sequence in here where things go backwards while things are going forward simultaneously. It's really strange. But,
cool.
Yeah. So, okay, we were just setting the game up. We got everybody set up. Shuffle the 24 suspect cards and place one face down under the Abbey's game board. This is the culprit whose identity players will compete to discover. So, Deacon, what we do is we take the suspect cards. You want to shut that door too, please?
Yeah.
Shuffle these guys up.
None in the fridge up there, so.
Did you count these, by the way?
I counted nothing.
Okay, 24. There are indeed 24.
And that's how many there ought to be.
Okay, shuffle them up real good. This, y'all, is going to be the suspect.
Alright.
It's going to go right there under the board. Nobody gets to peek at him until the end. Place 5 if 3 or 6 players. Suspect cards face down on the matching suspect positions in the upper corner of the Abbey board. That's here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'll put these on the side because I can't remember where those go right away. Okay, here are 5 suspect cards that go into play. Deal all remaining suspect cards to the player. If there are 3 players, we get 6 cards each. Okay, so I'm going to go around the table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. Okay, don't let your opponent see your cards.
So this is like, similar to Clue. This is how we get our starting, some starting knowledge of who it isn't.
Give the mass bell and 8 mass cards stacked in chronological order to the first player, which is determined by rolling one of the monk dice. If the dice shows the color of one of the monks that is not in play, re-roll it until it does. Okay, so I will roll. Yellow is not in play.
Nope.
Red, that's me. So I'll start. So I get the mass bell and these cards. I'm going to turn this. I know it's going to be crooked on the camera, but this is going to drive me crazy.
Fair enough.
It's crooked in front of me. If I turn the camera, maybe fix that a little bit.
Little.
Okay. Now, the odd thing about this game, Gryphon, is that you get to ask questions of other players.
Mm-hmm.
They are not obligated to answer. They can go like this. And that means they're taking a vow of silence.
Intriguing.
But in return, when it comes time for them to ask you a question, you're not obligated to answer.
True.
And you can only ask questions in a certain fashion. And we'll get to that in just a minute. And that sort of like restricts how you can gather information. Okay, 2 dice are now determined to roll the last 2 monks who have been to confession. Place 1 dice each in the 2 confessionals. Okay, so I will roll 2 dice. And the blue monk and the black monk were in last in the confessional.
Oh, hold on, set those down. Oh, that is blue.
Yeah.
It looked.
Um,
It's like looking green from where I was sitting.
is this the confessional?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one on that side and one on the other. Yeah.
Okay.
Huh. Wow.
You are now ready to explore the Abbey and discover the murderous culprit. So let me read you the background. The peaceful Templars Abbey is a rare haven of tranquility for road-weary travelers. And so you found it when you arrived late last night. That serenity was shattered this morning with the discovery of the lifeless body of Brother Adelmo at the foot of the monastery cliffs. Did the usually nimble-footed brother slip to his death, or did someone help him in his fall? All signs point to foul play. Dun dun dun. And the abbot has asked you and your companions to investigate and find the answer to the question, who killed Brother Adelmo? Nobody wants to chant here or anything like that while I'm reading this? Okay. Alright. Object of the game.
We do not.
An important stop on the pilgrimage to Saint-Jacques. The Abbey of the Templars is currently home to 24 monks. The monks have traits and physical characteristics as diverse as the orders they represent. So you might want to look at your thing here.
So by traits as diverse as the orders they represent, they mean the orders are all pretty much the same, and so are the monks.
Each monk has 5 important characteristics. Order: Templar, Franciscan, Benedictine, 8 monks of each order. They have a title: Father, Brother, Novice, 6, 9, and 9 respectively. Hood: they are hooded or unhooded. Facial hair: they are bearded or clean-shaven. Girth: they are either fat or thin. Each investigator's job is to carefully question the monastery's inhabitants and search through the abbey's various rooms to accurately uncover and reveal the specific characteristics: the order, title, hood, facial hair and girth, and the name of the culprit. Players accumulate victory points for accurately revealing the culprit's specific characteristics: the correct order, the correct title, correct hood, facial hair and girth, and name. They lose points when making an incorrect revelation or accusation. The revelations and accusations are recorded throughout the game. The corresponding victory points attributed in total at the end of the game once the culprit has been caught. The winner is the player with the highest number of points, then, often, but not always, the one who found the culprit. So that's important to know. Okay? You don't have to find the culprit to win. The following rules are written for 3 to 5 players. Rules changes for 3 to 6 players described in the end of the booklet. You can have some. Happy to share with you.
I was feeling gracious. Last time I did that, I nearly lost an arm. Felt the sword come down on top of it.
A game turn. Players play in successive turns. Okay, here's where you need to pay attention, because part of this goes clockwise, part of it goes anti-clockwise.
Counterclockwise is also known.
Yes, or if you're British descent, anti-clockwise. Players play in successive turns clockwise, starting with the first player of the turn. Each turn consists of the following. 1. Move the mass bell. First player in turn only.
Oh,
If you are the first player of the turn...
Yeah, it's even a real bell.
If you are the first player of the turn, move the bell one spot from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 on the topmost mass card. If the bell is already on 4, move it off the card, immediately call the mass, and apply the mass card's effect. 2. Move pawn. Move your pawn 1 or 2 steps in any direction on the board. Each room of the Abbey is delineated by a color change on the floor and counts as 1 step regardless of the room size. So if you're going from the ecclesia to the aula, I don't know how that is. That's 1 move.
Right.
There are no squares or whatever. Encounter. If your pawn ends its move in a room or space, it should say, already occupied by another player's pawn, you must ask that player a question. It's not an option, you must.
You must.
Yep.
But they don't have to answer.
Correct.
Intriguing.
The 4th step in the game turn is the action. Proceed with any actions relevant to the room your pawn now occupies. So we'll go over questioning others. If your pawn ends its move in a room already occupied by another player's pawn, you must ask that player a question. Multiple pawns are present, you may choose to question whichever one you want. The questioned player may either make a vow of silence by putting his finger to his mouth or their mouth, thus declining the answer, or answer your question, in which case they will then also get to ask you a question in return. You are then bound to answer that question.
Yep.
But if you ask them a question and they put their finger and they say, you know, they're taking a vow of silence or whatever, they cannot ask you a question. As all players have taken a vow of honesty, all questions must be answered truthfully or to the best of the player's knowledge or recollection. You may ask any kind of question as long as it can be answered without giving a suspect's name. You may, however, supply 1 or more names as part of your question. So here are some example questions, and this is why I was saying this is important, because you can't just come out and ask certain questions. Examples. How many bearded monks do you have in your hand? Do you have the Father Sergio card? How many Benedictines have you crossed out from your suspects list? Have you eliminated Father Bruno from your list of suspects? Are you going to Chapel Hall? Obviously, your opponent is then bound by his answer. So if you say, yes, I am, you have to go, even if you weren't. For further examples of questioning tactics and strategies, draw from experiences of famous investigative monks like those featured on the inside cover of your deduction notebook.
Such as Brother Eugene.
So this is the part of the stream where we pause and we go over to Netflix and start watching old monk detective.
I just binged the first season of Tad File.
Familiarize yourself with the board. These are the cells.
It's
the
also,
cellula.
It's
Okay,
also
these are...
here. So.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Thanks. Good reminder. There's a lot of critical information on your investigative journal sheet here, so
Yep.
It'll give you a lot of the descriptions in that as well.
I have a quick question for clarification. Yep. The suspect cards in a player's hand, these are ruled out. They can not be the murderer, right?
That is correct. And what we will get to, don't do it yet because there may be some caveats that I'm not remembering. As I think you're gonna check those off, tick them off on your suspect list.
Yeah.
And then you know that they're not, because they cannot possibly be the murderer, because the murderer is right here.
Yes.
Because there are 24 suspect cards, 1 there, 5 there, and each of us have 6.
Yeah.
And there's 24
And what
monks.
you're trying to do is you're trying to eliminate suspects.
Out of those.
Not only just the ones that you have, but the ones that Gryphon has.
Yeah, you gotta
the ones
ask
I
questions.
have.
It's Clue, but Catholic.
Yep. Okay. So, different activities take place in various rooms within the Abbey. Below is a description of the rooms and what takes place in each of them. Note, the board is labeled in the common language of the Abbey, Latin. For the convenience of those who were sleeping during Latin class, the room names and their Latin equivalents are provided in English. The chapel is where all players start the game. This is also where all players return from Mass every time they have played through 4 complete turns. Confessional. Confessional is where both sins and secrets are revealed. Randomly draw a suspect card from the hand of the last player who visited this same confessional, as indicated by the color of the monk displayed on the upturned face of the die.
Oh.
Then turn the dice to your own pawn's color to show that you were now the last player to have gone through this confessional. There may be only one pawn at a time in each confessional. Beware. One of the confessionals can only be entered through the courtyard, not directly from the chapel. That's right here.
Yeah.
Okay. The cells. A monk expects his cell to remain private. If you dare a visit, you may randomly draw a suspect card from the hand of the cell's owner, indicated by the color of the cell. There may be only one pawn at a time in each cell. Beware, the owner of a cell may enter it, even if there's already another pawn in it. If this happens, in this case, the intruder is caught in the act. He must immediately give back the card he took from the cell's owner. If he doesn't have this card anymore, then another card is drawn randomly from his hand. The intruder is then moved to the chapel for penance. Scriptorium. There's no telling what secrets a lucky monk might learn from a book found in the scriptorium. Take a scriptorium card. So as soon as you go visit, we're here, you get to draw a scriptorium card. Special books designated by a star on the card. That's a scriptorium card, I would imagine. Can be removed from the scriptorium. Don't show the card, but keep it in front of you face down to use it at the appropriate time indicated on the card. For plain books with no star, read the card's text out loud. Its effects apply immediately. If there is a die on the card, roll the die to determine which other player is affected. The Biblioteca, the library. The most precious books and hidden texts are kept out of sight in a remote alcove in the library. Only the players with the fewest cards in hand can step into the library. So you can ask other people, how many cards do you have in your hand, and whoever has the least gets to go into the Biblioteca.
Amount of these cards or amount of other cards?
Those cards.
Okay.
That's over here. So you have to be the player with the fewest amount of cards in your hand, and then you can go in there. This means that to enter the library, a player must make sure that 1, no other player has fewer cards in hand than they do, and 2, at least one player has more cards in hand than they do. Duh. A player may visit the library. A player may only visit the library once during the entire game. When you are within the library, draw a Biblioteca card and read the text aloud. Its effects apply immediately. The parlor, right here. News from the secular world outside of the Abbey arrive in the parlor. If there are still suspect cards in the suspect draw pile on the game board that's up here, draw the first one and add it to your hand. So this is where you'll go to get a new suspect card, as long as there are still cards that are here. Okay. If there are no suspect cards remaining, you may ask the player of your choice to show you a suspect card. You must specify 1 or 2, no more characteristics of the suspect card you want to see. Example, show me a Templar, or show me a bearded novice. If the question player has 1 or more of the cards of the specified type, they show you 1 and only 1. If the player has none, they may say so and do not have to reveal any cards. The vow of honesty still applies here. The crypt. Praying over the holy relics of St. Galbert entombed within the crypt fills you with rapture. Draw a crypta card. So when you go into the crypt, which is where? Right over there, on the outside. You draw a crypta card that you may use later at any time during the game to immediately play an extra turn after fulfilling your normal turn. Each player may only have 1 crypta card at a time. Chapter Hall. The great meetings of the Abbey take place in the chapter hall. You may make a revelation or bring an accusation. You have no obligation to do either. But that's where you do it. You have to go here and say, I'm going to make a revelation. I believe the killer was a Franciscan. And if you're right, you get points. If you're wrong...
How do you know if you're right?
You don't.
You don't.
Oh, so points are only awarded at the end of the game.
Yeah, you can make revelations at any time, or accusations.
An accusation is saying, I think specifically it was this person.
Yeah, it was Father so-and-so
Right.
of the Benedictine order, and yada. So the courtyard and the cloister and other empty rooms, these rooms provide living space for the Abbey's inhabitants, but have no other purpose. Moving through them counts as one of the 2 steps you grant on each turn. Please note the cloister is made of 4 distinct separate spaces, separated by these lines here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Events in the monastery's life. Mass. Yeah, I'm sorry. There are a lot of rules. Actually, this is 1.5 pages. That's not that bad. Despite the customary silence, rumors circulate best during services. Mass is held in the chapel every 4 turns and marks the rhythm of monastic life. So during Mass, 1. The pawns of all the players are placed in the chapel. 2. Each player simultaneously gives 1 or more suspect cards, as indicated by the Mass card, to the player on their left. If a player does not have enough suspect cards in hand, they just give all the ones they had, keeping the ones they receive. 3. An event card, designated with an illustration of the Abbey on its back. That's over here. An event card is drawn, its text read aloud, and its effect applied immediately. For some events, as shown by a die on the card, will only affect a specific player or room determined by a die roll. Give the deck of Mass cards and the bell to the player who played last during the previous game turn, i.e., the player is sitting to the immediate right of the player who called Mass. This is where that goes backwards. So play kind of goes clockwise, but when it comes to Mass, watch your cards there. You're going to about to knock them off.
Ooh.
Mass goes backwards.
Okay.
So it's a little weird, and we have to remember that. Here's how revelations work. Monks can go to the abbot who presides over the chapter hall to make a revelation. A revelation is Revelation is a public announcement to all the players that you have discovered one and only one characteristic of the guilty monk, which is why I said earlier you can say, I believe they were bearded. So these are valid revelations. The culprit is a Franciscan. The culprit has no hood. The culprit is a father. These are invalid revelations. The culprit is a bearded Franciscan, because they're saying 2.
Right.
You must specify only one characteristic. The culprit is not a novice. You must positively specify a characteristic. Negative declaration doesn't reveal whether it is a father or mother. You cannot make a revelation that has already been made, but you can make a revelation that contradicts a previous one. If another player revealed the culprit is a Benedictine, you cannot make the same statement, but you can announce that he is a Franciscan. Accusation. J'accuse. No accusation can be made as long as there are still suspect cards to be had going into the parlor. That's over here. To make an accusation, a monk must visit the abbot chapter hall and publicly name the monk he suspects as the culprit. If the accused monk's card is in another player's hand, this player must show it to all to prove that the accused is innocent. The pawn of the accuser who wronged him is then moved to the chapel for penance. See below. And the player who made the unjust accusation loses 2 points.
Ooh.
If no player has the accused monk card in hand, the accused must be guilty. Confirmed by the card hidden under the game board. The game ends, and the player who correctly named the culprit scores 4 points. Calculate each player's score. See scoring below. The player with the highest score is declared the winner. In the event of a tie, the player who found the culprit is the winner. Penance. A player caught in the act of searching another player's cell or making a false accusation must repent. Heretic. The same applies. He must be cleansed by fire. The same applies to the first player if he forgets to move the Mass bell or call Mass every 4th turn. At the beginning of his turn... Oh, I'm sorry, these rules are crazy. The same applies to the first player if they forget to move the Mass bell or call Mass every 4th turn at the beginning of their turn before moving their pawn. So we're going to have to really watch that Mass thing, because that's one that confuses me every time I play this.
Yeah.
By common agreement, players may also decide to impose a penance on a player who makes a mistake by playing out a turn, asking a forbidden question, or gets too excited and spills consecrated wine, coffee, or whiskey on the game board. That actually does say that there. So I'm going to move my shit out of the way here. The pawn in penance is placed in the chapel, where they must spend a whole turn praying. You therefore skip your next turn and may neither ask nor answer questions while there. If a pawn goes to penance just before the Mass, they must skip the first turn after Mass. Do you want me to read scoring now, or worry about that later?
We can worry about that later.
Okay, so.
Jesus.
Alright. So let me go back to this whole mass thing, because that's the one that trips me up every time. Move the mass bell. First player in turn only. If you are the first player of the turn, move the bell one spot from 1 to 2. On the topmost masked card. Okay. Okay, so this is how this works. I want to hide that a bit more. See how these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
So you take this, you turn this up, okay? This is where we start, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to move from 1 to 2. Move a pawn 1 to 2 steps. I'm red, so I'm going to go. Who's blue?
Me.
Okay.
Just to clarify, there's no point in going to the yellow, green, or white cells because there's
No
not a
player.
player there.
That's true, I believe.
You'd have to draw a card
I don't
from
believe
their
there's
hand
anybody
and
that
they
can
don't
give
Yeah.
you anything there.
Yeah. Yeah, because it just says draw a suspect card at random from the cell's owner. So, yeah, there's nothing you can do in there, so there'd be no point.
Okay, so I'm gonna try. I've never done this right out of the gate, so I'm gonna go into
Can't
the
do that.
confessional.
Well, you
No.
can't go through that wall. You can go 1, 2.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And also, can you go into the confessional?
One,
I thought you couldn't go in when they're in
two.
penance.
He's not in penance. These
I'm right
represent
here.
the last.
I was
monks.
just the last person
Oh.
ready to be in that
Okay.
confessional.
So as I go in there,
Okay, so hang on. I need to like mark off who I
gotta
have,
move my
you know, like,
chair,
mark off
or you
who's in
gotta
my hand.
yeah.
Holding that better.
Well, I don't. I've got a clipboard and I don't have a writing surface.
Let's just use the table. I mean,
Then if I use the tables, thank you. Alright.
Oh, that's pretty. Look at this. It's a new thing Scott's
oh
making.
yeah.
Friend
I bet
Scott's
that weighs
making
a ton.
Yeah, probably does.
Okay.
But shit.
So, draw a suspect card from the last visitor.
Ooh.
Okay.
Well,
I think you get that back.
No,
No,
you draw.
you
You
just-
keep it.
Yeah,
That's how. That's
I'm pretty
that's
sure
how
that-
you like lose or gain cards from your hand to someone.
Yeah,
Because now I have
the least cards.
the
in the
least.
game.
Yeah, that's like how you can get less cards in your hand. So you go to the. It doesn't say like look at it. It says you draw them. You draw it.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. It
Yeah.
doesn't specifically say keep it. So now what I do, Deacon, is I turn this up to red because I was the last one there.
And now,
And
the
then
next person who goes there would get a card from you.
the next step, excuse me, encounter. If my pawn ends its move in a room, no action. Proceed with any actions relevant to the room your pawn now occupies. Already kind of did that. I got no questions. So it goes to you.
All right.
Two move.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna head here.
Okay.
Start making my way downtown. Moving along. Nothing to do in that room, so it's your turn.
I would like to move from the ecclesia into the aula and then into the confessional. Oh wait, can I do that? Because there's
I
another
don't-
player in there.
I don't believe you can.
Yes,
There may only be one pawn at a time in each confessional.
I would like to move into the cloister. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ooh.
Alright,
Now,
question
brother,
time.
I have a question.
sure.
How the fuck do I ask these again?
Says you can ask any question as long as I can answer it without giving a name as an answer.
Without giving a name.
Yeah.
Brother, are any of your suspects... Wait, do you call these suspects?
Clarification.
We.
I mean, I didn't really. I heard you say without giving a name, but you're talking about. Because he can ask, "Do you have the Father Sergio card?
Yeah.
Do you have the? What? How did you explain?
He just said without
Any
giving a
question
name.
is legal as long as it can be answered without saying a name. So there can be a name in the question
Yeah.
as long as the answer isn't a name.
Yeah. You can't say, "Can you tell me what
Yeah.
cards you have in your hand or whatever?" Yep.
But you can ask, do you have this card in your
Correct.
hand? And then it would be a yes or no. So that's legal.
Do you, by any chance, have any Templars? Any brothers or novices or fathers of the Templar Order within your suspects?
I do.
Okay.
You get to ask him back.
How many Franciscans do you have in your hand?
Dude, how do you say dose in Italian?
Doi.
Doi. Two.
Alright.
So I believe it's uno, due,
Tres, cuatro.
uno, due, tre, quattro, cinque. It's very close to Spanish. I can't remember what six is.
They're very closely related languages.
Alright.
The Romans got all up in everybody's shit.
All right,
Now, wait, were you supposed to move the mass bell? Or is
No.
that only for you?
when it goes around.
Yep, okay.
He moved the mass spell.
Okay. Any other actions that happen there?
Nope.
Okay.
Cloister.
Okay. Goes to me.
Yep.
So at the beginning of my turn, I got to move this from 2 to 3. And I am going to go here.
Nope. You're moving through
Oh,
the wall
yeah.
there. You
Yeah.
can get back into the
It's
ecclesia, but
Calm
you
down.
can't get to
It's all right.
confessional.
Your blood pressure's going up. Calm down. It's all right. It's all good. One.
Now
Then
you could
I'll
go into the cloister and ask a question, or you could go into
Yeah,
the-
I'll go there. I mean, that's easier. I got
There's
both
a
of you.
party in here.
You can only ask one of us a question. Yes?
I believe so.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Nice.
So, brother, how many Franciscans do you have in your hand?
Do you want to ask a different question? 'Cause
That's
I-
literally the
Yeah.
question I just asked.
Oh,
And I just answered.
sorry. Yeah, I was reading through the rules. Okay. Yeah, okay.
No, so I have 2 Franciscans. I've answered your question. Now will you answer one of mine?
Oh, well, I was going to change it because you did ask me.
Yeah, I was gonna say
You did. You asked me your question already. You said, "Is that the question you want to ask?"
I hadn't answered yet.
Thank you. I'll be here all weekend. Fair enough. Go ahead, ask me.
How many Templars do you have in your hand? Brothers of the Templar Order, not like the Knights or anything.
Well, you can't.
No.
Oh,
How
no,
many
you can
monks?
You could
Yeah,
specify brothers.
You could, but I'm
Templar
asking how many Templar Order do you
2.
have? When you're making a when you're in the capitulation, what does that say? Capitulation, whatever the fuck that word is. When you're in there, you cannot make a negative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't say the
You can't
suspect
say
does
they're
not have
not.
a beard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can because that's one of the traits. The traits are bearded or not bearded. So saying the suspect does not have a beard
you can't
is
say
a
it about
positive
order or
trait.
rank.
Yeah. You can't
Okay.
say the
that-
suspect is not a Franciscan.
Wait, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
you
okay,
can't
so
state a
it's-
question in the negative. You have to state it in the positive.
Wait, no, hold on. You cannot say when you're when
I
you,
took it to mean literally like you can't state like saying they don't have a beard is a negative. Like you'd have to say
with that,
they
then.
are clean shaven, or
Okay.
they have a beard.
yeah.
I mean, I get your
Okay.
point. Logically, that means the suspect does
I
not
know,
have a
the
beard. That
rules is
means they're
written.
clean shaven. But I think you have to
Okay.
declare it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
All right.
So there's no other. I believe there's no other action there to be done in that room, and play goes to you.
Yup.
You know what? I'm gonna go to the scriptorium. Alright, so draw a card.
I don't believe you have to read it right away.
No, I do.
Oh, does it say so?
Yeah, it says
Okay.
it says play immediately
Yep.
unless it has the thingy, which it does not. So, Book of High Magic. In attempting to perform the rituals in this cursed tome, you create a great commotion in the Abbey. Move the pawns of all the other players anywhere you choose. You cannot put 2 pawns in the same space.
The chaos vortex.
Damn, this is a lot of power to be given all of a sudden.
You're a heretic.
Come on, Chaos Daddy. Ooh.
Alright. Unless that. Should I just leave that there, I guess?
Sure.
Alright.
Yeah, they get discarded, and we can put it on the bottom face up if you wanted.
Alright.
All right.
Is you.
Okay.
Yup.
Well, let's see. I mean, Seems silly not to take advantage of that opportunity. So, I would like to
To answer your
ask...
question preemptively, I have 2 Franciscans.
Oh, somebody's got to do penance for not moving the mass bell before he moved his pawn.
Ah, man. You fucked up.
He didn't move the mass
You
bell.
didn't move the mass bell.
Oh, to 4, yeah.
It's supposed to be on 4.
So, I go to the chapel, right?
Well,
Well, I guess I need to move it, right? It's still
Yeah.
got to be moved regardless. So we have to figure out how this works. Immediately call the mass and apply the mass card's effects. So, I mean, I either move it or I don't. I pay the penance or I, like... Because otherwise we'd have to skip it and go a whole round again.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Well, how do you guys want to do this? I mean, I can move back before I move it. Should we just chalk this one up to a mistake and then enforce from here?
Sure.
Okay. So, came around. I'll move to here. Okay, and according to this, if the bell is already on 4, nope. If you're the first player of the turn, move the bell 1 spot from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, etc., etc., etc. Topmost on the topmost mass card. If the bell is already on 4, move it off the card. Immediately call the mass and apply the mass card's effects. So it was not already on 4.
It was not.
Just moved it to 4.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Now I
turn.
move my pawn.
So next turn, mass will be called.
Yep.
Yes.
Now I'm there, and now I want to ask, how many bearded monks do you have in your hand?
I have 2.
Okay.
Do you have any Templar novices in your hand?
I do.
I see.
I feel like there's a better question you could have asked there. Namely, how many, and not just do you have any? Because that gives you a lot less information. But anyway.
It could.
Anyway, it's my turn.
It is your turn, brother heretic, magic user, defiler. Let me see that clipboard.
There's another one in there.
Not too lazy.
Jesus, literally turn around and stretch, and you could reach the drawer.
That's a lot of work.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to follow in the footsteps of Brother Ngueren, or however you pronounce the name of one of the dudes that's on there, and I'm going to go to the library. Because I only have 5 cards. I know you have 7, and you still have 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I draw the card and read it aloud, right? And it does immediately.
I believe so. Biblioteca.
Draw a Biblioteca card once per game, only when fewest cards. Now that's fucking useless.
Well, yeah, like, it gives the rules for when you can do it, but not how.
Yeah, read the text aloud.
Okay.
Its effects
Bada
apply immediately.
boom. Aristotle's Laugh.
Damn, he was like a sorcerer or something.
In spite of the calamities overwhelming the Abbey, this book gives you this book gives you exceptional drive. I don't know, Ceccptional. Exceptional? Is that a word? I don't know. I've never heard of it before. Anyway, it says I get to take another turn.
How do you spell it?
Ceccptional.
Yeah, that's weird. That's like a... I don't know if that's a... CCPTIONAL. Susceptional, almost.
Exceptional, yeah.
Except it's not. It's... Sectional.
Yeah,
Because in
That's
Italian, the double C... Isn't the double C like CH?
That's not a...
Like cacciatore?
Oh, Jesus.
Dude, what are you doing over there?
Careful.
clipboard. Alright.
That's not a word, yeah.
Okay, take another turn immediately, during which you can go to the place of your choice. So I can just teleport anywhere.
Yeah,
And
monk speed.
Telling you, man. Aristotle was a sorcerer. He did
Yeah.
teleportation and shit.
yeah,
know
Aristotle
that dude.
gives me fucking
Socrates.
magic powers. Yeah, just like Socrates. Alright.
Whoa.
Super Socrates speed. I'm gonna take a card from you. Alright. Bam!
You good?
Yeah. We all good here. We're all fine here. How are you? Okay. Your turn.
Go with God, my child.
I'm going to go with God into the bar. So can you hand me a suspect card,
I
please?
think it's called the
No.
parlor, not the bar.
Well,
Pretty sure it's called
The
the
clipboard.
parlor. Look, can you just get out the second clipboard? It's gonna get really annoying having to pass it back and forth all the time.
the barler, as some may call it.
The barler. Alright. Goes to me. Remove the bell. Call the mass.
Oh, I got the purple one. This shit's sick.
Apply the mass card's effects. All pawns go to the chapel. You just knew that was coming.
No, not that.
Each player gives
you can
one
stop that.
suspect card to his left neighbor.
I could not understand a word that just came out of your mouth.
Give a suspect card from your hand to the player on your left.
Give a suspect card. Let's do this on cloak.
This goes underneath. Okay, face up. I draw an event card. And I believe these were the event cards, right?
Yeah.
Alibi. Am I supposed to read this out loud?
I think so.
Mass. Effect. Yep, read it out loud. Okay. A group of monks was seen in town watching the work being done on the new cathedral. Each player selects a suspect card in their hand and reveals it. All the disclosed cards are removed from the game and placed face up on the side of the board.
Face up.
Or no, I'm waiting for you guys.
Alright, fair enough.
Where's that? There.
Okay.
Holy shit. I mean, fuck, I'm a monk, I can't say that.
Alright, everybody done?
Yes.
You must not be very good at ye old Catholic poker.
Okay.
Assuming that was
No,
a
that
thing
was a
they
good
had.
thing.
This
Old
card,
Catholic
Deacon?
poker, yes.
Whoopsie.
That's his, right?
This turns up.
Oh, does it go to me?
Now on Lauds. This goes to you. Bell goes in position number 1. That concludes my turn.
let's do
Play goes. Wait.
No, because
What?
if Deacon's got the bell and the mass cards, then that makes
Oh, then is it my
that
turn?
makes you the first player of the turn. Because it said
Wow.
that the first player of the turn has to move the mass
But,
bell.
wait a minute. Do I get to go my normal turn? I don't think I do. Because at the
I have a
beginning of my
question.
turn, I moved it off, called the mass, did the effects.
Yeah, I don't think you would, because that would
no.
because that
'Cause
would
then it
give
goes
you an
around.
extra. Because then that would
Yeah.
give you an extra turn.
No, it does, because it's right here. Move the mass bell. First player in the turn. If the where's it at? If the bell's already on 4, move it off the card. Immediately call the mass and apply the mass card's effects. Step 2 in a game turn. Move
Okay,
pawn.
okay.
Move your pawn 1 or 2. So okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm
appears I
gonna
was
go.
incorrect.
I suppose it makes sense though because
Did this confession?
we're all gonna end up.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
fair enough.
ask you for a card.
Oh yeah, I forgot I have to give you a card, not just answer some dumb question.
Yeah, just
Like,
No,
how
you
many
don't. You
Franciscans
don't
do you-
give it to him. He takes it from you.
yeah, I draw it
Oh.
from you. So just fan them out. I'll pick one.
I'll give you a little hint. There are more Franciscans in there. Eek. That's not a very monk-like language. That's German.
There are monks in Germany. Who
No.
do you think Martin Luther
I'll
was?
turn this up.
He's a good.
And then
Seems like a dude in the 60s.
that is it for me.
All right.
Now play goes to Gryphon.
Yeah. Okay.
So the turn order doesn't reset when the mass spell moves. It just
going.
okay. I get it.
That's why I said it's a little weird because play
Okay.
is in successive
Yeah,
clockwise
alright,
rounds, but the
alright,
bell
alright,
goes to
alright.
the last player.
All right. I'm Matthew McConaughey.
All right. So. Is that it
Yeah.
for your turn?
I mean, I can't do anything from where I am, so yeah.
You sure you want to do that?
No.
In fairness, because,
A question for me?
Question. Do you have, if you would be so kind as to answer, any brothers of the Franciscan order? Your hand.
I do not
I
have
see.
any Franciscan brothers. Yeah, brother.
Yeah. What would be?
Do you have any novices of the Benedictine in
of
your
the
hand?
Benedictines? I do not. Alright, your turn. I love how like half of the thin guys are just the villagers from Minecraft. The way they stand.
Yeah.
You just
I'm trying to
It's a
find.
monk thing.
fuck it's copyrighted. What are you looking for?
Oh, nothing. Okay, never mind. It applied to Revelations. I was because you asked a question, and I was almost going to say that that's an invalid question, but it's fine. It's all good.
It's your go.
Yep. Okay. Mm-mm.
Alright, it's your go.
I'm gonna go to the parlor. Give me a person in the parlor.
Is it my turn?
I mean, I guess, yeah, that's all I can do in the parlor. Are you just fucking following me around?
You could ask him a question.
I know, I wanted to mark this down real quick. Oh, fuck, what did I ask you last time? Oh, I'm not gonna do the same thing again. How many brothers, specifically brothers, of the Templar Order do you have in your hand?
Templar Brothers. I have 2.
I see. Would you
Might
like to
ask how many Templar brothers that you have.
I have 1.
You done? Okay.
I drew. I asked. He asked. We good?
You move the mass bow.
Yep.
Alright, yeah, we all good then. Oh, God. Hoip, hoip.
Do you, by any chance, have a brother of the Franciscan order in your hand? If you'd feel so kind as.
Damn! We got our first vow of silence.
You bastard.
Sometimes I feels like not talking today.
That's the worst Italian accent I've ever heard.
Oh, believe me, I am
No,
nothing compared to
please.
Chris Pratt.
Okay. Alright. That's the end of this.
Anyway.
Goes to you.
Alright. I'm gonna scooch into the confessional. Snag a card of yours.
Wait, where were you?
I was
Oh, yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've scooched into
all
the
good.
confessional.
Got a lot of them. Hold on a second. And then this goes up to blue.
My turn?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He's got no other action cards.
Yep.
So bell comes off.
Bell comes off. Give it a little bring.
Alright, so everybody.
Get teleported to the chapel.
It is each player gives 2 suspect cards
Oh my.
to his neighbor on the left.
Give me some good ones, you
Ooh.
bastards.
This go. What is it? The mask card.
Face up.
Okay.
Bottom of the deck.
Flip this over. Prime.
Are those the days of the week in Latin?
Yeah.
There you go.
Maton,
Your mass
Love,
bell.
Prime.
And draw an event card, my boy.
Oh yes, where's that?
And then read the
Look, I used the force out
text
loud.
out loud.
Yeah.
Procession. The abbot orders a temporary halt to the murder investigation and calls a procession around the monastery to implore for the Lord's mercy. The game immediately proceeds to the next mass.
Oh Lord, what are you doing? I'm averting my eyes, oh Lord. Stop it!
Hold on, I gotta get some. Alright.
Alright, we're already in the chapel. Gotta give 3 suspect cards to the player on your left.
Wait, what are you doing?
It skips immediately to the next mass.
Mhm.
That's what the event card said.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
What?
Skips
Damn,
immediately
I'm
for
like,
next
I'm
mass.
writing to my suspects in the journal. I'm missing all the action.
Apparently.
God, I'm like Brother Sleepyhead.
Apparently.
3
so,
suspect
yeah,
cards.
3.
Yep.
Like, yeah,
It's gonna go to
Jesus, this
4.
is-
Ah.
Yeah, I assume, yeah. Man, what happens if you don't have that many suspects in your hand
You
when it
will.
gets called?
Because you're like, I give up 3, I'm gonna get back to 3.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, if there's enough like people going to confessional and stealing from you in your cell and shit,
Oh, that's a
you
good
might
question.
not have,
Okay,
as
those go to
especially when
you.
it gets to be the
Until it
several
gets
many
Just,
of
just.
them.
Gimme.
Shit.
Gimme, gimme, gimme.
There's so much cards. Here, have those 3.
Oh, I missed one.
Alright. And now we draw another event card for that mass.
Yep.
Sermon. The abbot's words at mass are especially moving and have filled the monks with renewed fervor. Until the next mass, the pawns of players may move 1 additional space each turn.
Oh.
Hmm.
Pretty nifty.
Intriguing.
Myself.
Alright. And that puts it to your turn?
Nope.
Yes.
What?
Oh no, you still
No.
get your turn.
Yep.
God, I forgot. Jesus, this is complicated.
Yep.
You still get your turn because you called the mass and you.
If I move into a confessional, does that immediately end my turn?
I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
because that's you move 1 or 2. You can move up to 2, so you can
or
move
up
1
to
or
3
2.
in this case, right
in
now.
this case, yeah, but you can't move action move because you could abuse that. You could go do other things
Yeah.
theoretically. Okay,
Alright, who's on the move? On the move.
so that's all for you.
Moving right along. Oh wait, this needs
Take-
to be on the number
yeah.
that like actually matters.
That's
No,
you
and
have
that
it now,
actually
right?
gets flipped over now because
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
prime goes
this-
to the bottom.
Oh yeah, this also already
Yeah.
happened.
And then that goes to that,
Terse.
Yeah.
and then no bill.
No,
Would it go all the way
he hasn't had the.
I mean,
He-
but it
I
all
don't know,
but it skipped
but
through to the next mass.
It played his mass.
So like,
so
would
it
that,
should go over.
Well, would it?
I'd say so.
I mean, I guess.
Because like I played my mass, right? My mass went through.
Yeah,
Then the match
effectively
went over
we
to
go
him.
through 4 rounds until.
Yeah, it effectively skipped 4 rounds and played his mass. So I think it would then go.
I
over
guess.
to
Yeah,
his-
because otherwise you would play 2 masses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right, I'm okay
Alright.
with that. That's fine. Okay,
Okay.
so now whose turn is it? And-
Deacon just finished, so it's your turn.
Okay, and we're back to where we started.
Yes.
Okay.
It's back to your
Okay.
turn. You've
So
got the bell.
I will move the bell from 1 to 2, so I don't get spanked. I want to ask you a question, if I may, brother. Do you have the Novice Gerard card? Do you have Novice Gerard in your hand? I guess is the more appropriate way to ask. Interesting. Okay. Then play goes to you.
Oh god.
That's mine.
That's his.
But thank you for the tour. I just picture myself being wheeled through the Abbey in a wheelbarrow. Woo!
Seems like somebody visited the parlor one too many times.
The winery. I really like their games. Days of Wonder.
Oh yeah.
They do some really
Yeah,
nice
they
stuff.
do. They got good games. Do you have any Benedictine brothers in your hand?
Dude, hold on. I do not.
Okay.
Do you know if is Father Galbraith of the Franciscan Order in your hand?
Yes.
Okie dokie.
Did you know that there's a death metal band called Oakley Dokley that's just
Yep.
Ned Flanders impersonators?
Yep.
Yeah. Learned about that the other day at work.
Didn't they play in Madison right before the quarantine?
I think they did Milwaukee. I don't
Well, yeah, I guess she said Wisconsin.
know. Yeah. They did though. They came here a while back. Yeah.
Anyway.
Your turn?
You. Oh yeah, no, you. You asked me a question on my turn because I asked you a question. It's your turn. That's how it works.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Confused.
You like to say words. It's a part of my elaborate plan to confuzzle you.
Cartulary of the Abbey. What strange information about the Abbey's past? Is there a connection between these long ago events and the recent murder? Keep this card and play it during a mass to look at the cards that a player of your choice is giving to another.
Oh wow!
Mm.
The player of your look at the cards. The
So
player of
if-
your choice is giving to another. So you could look at mine that I'm going to give to him, or
I would basically
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
look between you.
Because there's
Yes.
no point in looking at the ones I'm giving to
Yeah.
you because you'll see
Yep.
them
Yeah.
in a hot second.
yeah. But if there were another player in play,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that would be a card
Okay.
that would be
There
of
would
more
be
use in
shenanigans.
was that it?
a larger player game. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That would be it.
Moving the bell from 2 to 3,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and I still get to do the 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And I would like to ask you a question, brother.
Indeed.
Do you have Novice Gerard in your hand?
You're persistent. Yeah. No, I don't. I don't have Novice Gerard.
What would you like to know?
Do you have Brother Berengar in your hand?
I do. That's it from me. Play goes to you. Are we still at 3 moves?
Yeah,
Until
it's
it's
until
Yeah,
the next
mass.
mass.
Yep.
Yep.
That's right.
My turn, right?
Yeah.
Yes. How many cards do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What do you have?
It's for
A lot.
the lowest is for entering the biblioteca, not the scriptorium.
Yeah, no, I
He
know.
knows.
Brother,
I just see over
may I
there.
ask you a question? Do you have Brother Emmanuel of the Franciscan Order in your hand?
I do not.
I see.
Wait, what was it? The Franciscan Brother Emmanuel?
Brother Emmanuel.
I do not.
I see. Well, need to know.
Do you have Novice Gerard in your hand?
I do.
Okay, my turn.
Yes.
Move to 4. And you still have 6. So I wonder how that works. Like,
If we're tied, you can't go into the biblioteca.
you can't?
It's remember it was weird, but it specified a player has to have at least one more than you, and basically you have to be the lowest. You can't tie. Remember?
I don't think that's what it said.
Yeah.
it?
This means that to enter the library, a player has to make sure that 1, no other player has fewer cards in hand than he does. 2, at least one player has more.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
that we
okay.
can't all have
yeah,
the same number
okay.
of cards.
So I can do
Which
that.
means, because I have more than you guys.
So I'm going to go into the biblioteca. You don't have to do that. It's fine. I can reach from here. I'm going to pull up a card. The Gospel of Judas. Judas the Betrayer.
Judas.
What
the
a
Priest.
mess in this heretical text.
Heretic.
Exchange all your suspect cards with those of another player of your choice.
Damn.
I'll take yours.
All right. What's mine is yours.
Maybe a curse or a blessing.
Maybe I should think about that as well. It's 4 next time, right? To pass on.
Yeah, it will be, I think.
All right.
And I think that's it for my turn.
Yeah.
And play goes to you, Gryphon.
I'm going to make a revelation.
Oh.
I'm going to reveal that the murderer is a Franciscan.
Okay. Okay.
So, if you can, without anybody seeing, maybe what you do is flip your journal up like this and make a little note that you made that revelation, just
yeah.
so you remember what it was.
Yeah. Alright. And yeah, that's my turn. I moved, I revelated.
Moved out.
Short turn.
It's my turn.
Yeah, short turn now.
Dos. I'm going to make a revelation that the guy, the main killer dude, the imposter.
You're gonna make an
sus.
accusation?
No, a revelation.
Okay.
That the imposter is sus. That the killer is hooded.
Okay, so jot that down.
Alright. And while I'm here, can I still ask a question since I'm ending on the same...
I would assume.
Yeah.
How many...
You said he was what? Hooded?
I said he was Franciscan.
Franciscan.
I said he was hooded.
Deacon said hooded.
You said hooded, okay.
How many Benedictine novices do you have in your hand?
In my hand? None.
Good to know.
Now, just ask you, do you have Novice Charles of the Benedictine in your hand?
Nope.
Alright.
Okay.
And it's what, 4 this time?
Yep.
That is correct.
And when you do, by the way, Dad, when you pass those over to Gryphon, let me take a peek at those real quick. Playing my card.
Oh yeah, good call.
I mean, honestly, it's not like you gotta be that secret about them. He already knows what they are, and they're going to go to me, so I'll know what they are.
You make a good point.
And now you know all of them. So,
It's a load of bullshit.
mm.
You can take the cards.
Oh, thank you.
Ways past the.
Alright. Yeah, whoop, we gotta event it.
Oh yes, indeed.
An eventful mass. You think the father will say anything about shepherds at this eventful mass?
Kinda hoping
that would
he
be
doesn't
very
just say
effective.
like call another mass immediately.
I think it would be very effective
Would it?
if the abbot started talking about shepherds at mass.
Draw a card.
Yep.
Catechism. The novices are sent to their cells to study. Each player with at least one novice in hand must select a novice card and place it face down in the room adjacent to his cell. Each player with at least one novice in hand.
In the room adjacent to
Yeah.
his cell. So like,
Yeah,
like I
so
could
you
put
would
it
do
here
yeah.
or here because they're both adjacent. Like
I'd assume
suppose
adjacent means like
door.
yeah, the one with the door.
All right.
Yeah, that is the room adjacent to your cell.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, there's like technically that's also adjacent,
Yeah.
but it's not like
any
connected.
player
check.
Any player ending their move in that room may take a look at this card. If the player is the card's owner, they may take the card back into their own hand. When the next mass begins, any novice still left in front of his cell goes back into the original owner's hand.
Alrighty then.
I'll leave that up in case we get confused
Okay.
by that.
And pass the mass.
Pass the mass. Pass the gas.
All right. So this is gonna
And then I
be
get to take my normal turn.
Yup.
Now we're back to 2.
Yup.
Okay.
I'm gonna go pray in the crypt.
Whoa! I forgot that was there.
Yeah, I know. All this time we were in the chapel.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know that's wild that you can do that. I'm gonna go pray in the crypt.
I suppose you've got questions to ask me as well.
Dude.
You're going to pay penance.
Why?
Oh,
Because you didn't move the
move the mass bell. Oh,
alright.
somebody didn't move
What's
the
my
mass bell.
penance?
So,
You gotta go
you
do
go
penance
back to the
in
chapel.
I thought you did the. I think you did penance in the chapter hall.
It's honestly good because I couldn't think of a question.
You go placed in the
Wait.
chapel,
Oh,
where you
okay,
must spend your
chapel.
whole turn praying. You therefore skip your next turn and may neither ask nor answer questions while there. If a pawn goes to penance just before the mass, you must skip his turn. They must skip their turn after mass.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Your turn.
Yes. I can't go through it.
No.
1,
Those.
2.
Alright.
What? Who's what? What's this?
Oh, that's probably mine.
Yeah,
sorry.
So you,
Yeah, no, that goes. Yeah. Whoa.
confess.
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 Confess!
Oh, good one. All right.
Skip your turn.
Nope. I'm actually gonna take my turn. I'm gonna play a crypt card, which allows me to immediately play an extra turn after finishing my turn. So because my turn technically got finished because it was skipped, I'm just to get an
Okay.
extra.
Your turn didn't get played. Your turn got skipped.
All right. I
You
see how
can't,
it is.
yeah, because it skips everything.
Okay.
So.
I don't
I know
wanna
it
play a
sucks,
card,
but
whatever.
okay.
I see.
I'm gonna make an accusation.
An accusation.
Ooh.
I know who
Yes.
you're gonna make it against.
I'm gonna say the killer was Brother Cuthbert.
Okay.
Alright.
Do you have to mark that down, or do you check immediately, or how does
Well,
that work?
We're gonna find out.
You say just,
So I either hanged myself.
You might want to tilt your thingy so I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
see all your shit.
Stop cheating, dude. Got it. Darn.
If the accused monk's card is in another player's hand, this player must show it to all, not to prove the accused is innocent. Oh.
Brother
Ah.
Cuthbert.
The
Alright.
pawn of the accuser who wronged him is then moved to the chapel for penance. So I go to the chapel.
Shame. For shame.
Dude, everyone's
Now
just
I know who the killer
doing
is.
penance. Oh. Wow.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Now it's my turn.
Let me see if there's anything else here.
Oh, whoa! It's already 11.
Oh, jeez.
No, I just stay here and I get
Alright.
my next turn skipped.
Okay. So, you're no longer on penance, so I can ask you a question.
Oui.
And that question is, do you have Brother Jacques in your hand?
Brother Jock.
Jacques.
Brother
Right.
Jock of the Order of Football. Which is he in?
Franciscan.
Franciscan.
Did you say of the football?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brother Jock of the Order of Football. I do not.
Okay.
Oh, like JAC Quez.
Yeah.
Shit,
Jacques.
Quest.
Yeah. You know,
Jake Quez.
French.
J Quez.
That language that you.
Aaron and Jake Quez.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway. Alright, I'm gonna use my crypt card.
It's like the Templar Brother Malachi.
I'm gonna go that way now.
Alright, my turn.
Yeah.
Gonna go 1, 2. Going to ask you a question.
Of course.
How many?
What is your airspeed velocity with none lead and swallow?
Ha!
How many Benedictine brothers do you have in your hand, if any?
I got 2.
Wild.
I got 2 Benedictine brothers.
Alright, I'm gonna spend my crypt card Is that the discard?
I don't know, I
yours?
guess.
All right, to move an extra turn, 1, 2. Dude, I'm
To
moving
move
on both.
what?
To move, it's an extra turn, so I'm gonna spend that to
Okay.
move.
And
I
now
didn't know
you're
if
gonna
it
go to
specified.
penance for not moving the goddamn mass bell.
Oh,
you
damn.
heathen!
I don't
Oh
like
my
this game.
god.
Dude,
All that for
You
that.
are the most
spell.
No,
irresponsible.
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I'm done with
You
that
gotta move
shit,
that. You
dude.
gotta move it.
gotta
Did you move
remember
it
to-
last time? It should be here now.
No, I'm done with that shit.
Yeah, you got it.
Gotta
Even
remember
if you
to
did,
move the
okay.
goddamn mass bell.
So okay, so you lose your turn.
All you
Comes to
So
me.
you go to mass.
I lose
you
my
lose your turn
turn.
in penance.
Goes to you.
All right. I'm gonna go back in here, and I'm going to ask of you if you have Brother Jacques in your hand.
All right, my turn.
No, you're on penance.
Your turn.
Okay. 1, 2.
All right. Do you have Novice Charles in your hand?
All right, my turn.
Yeah.
Question. Do you have brother? I don't really care. Do you have brother Cyril of the Benedictines?
Oh, yes, yeah, I do. I got him.
Cool.
I got Brother Cereal. Brother Cereal.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah, he's
I
gotta
still get to
ask.
ask you a question.
Oh,
I
yeah,
still
yeah,
get to ask you a
sorry.
question.
God, these things are like crack.
Do you
Yeah.
have Novice Charles?
Of the
Benedictine as
No,
well.
I don't.
Novice Charles? No? Alright.
And I will say that it's the second time you've asked me.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, we've been to Mass since then.
No, we
I
haven't.
would have been the one who gave you him if we had been Mass.
Okay, now it's my turn.
I'm stupid.
Yes.
Yes.
Your turn.
Okay. I'm gonna go here and look at that card. Do I get to take it in my
No.
hand, or it just
if
stays
it's
there?
if it's him, he gets
Right.
to take
Okay.
it.
So it just stays. All right. So there's
My
not
turn?
much- Yeah.
Ding ding, motherfuckers, go to church. Oh, and 6 cards.
What do you know? That's my entire hand.
What do you know? I don't have 6 cards. You got to deal with 5. You gotta take a card. Forbidden books. The abbot is angry. Blah 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 blah. All book cards discard.
What?
What?
All book cards discarded. Nobody has book cards, so
Nobody
it's
has
just
any, so
Okay.
no.
Did you flip
no,
this for me?
I
no,
did.
You're going the wrong way. It goes to me.
what? Oh yeah.
Math goes counterclockwise,
I
bro.
keep forgetting that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
weird rule.
I'm gonna take my turn now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. Your question.
Do you have any bearded Benedictines in your hand?
I get to ask a question.
Oh yeah. Hey, wait! You didn't ring the bell. Go to penance.
Fuck!
You dumb motherfucker.
Piss.
Come on now, keep it nice.
Well,
Keep it civil.
I mean, go sit in the corner of shame, brother.
All right, whatever. Take your turn.
What's your question? You gonna ask it to God?
Shut up.
All right.
Where's your savior now, Flanders? How you feel now, motherfucker?
I mean, technically, that's a legal question. He doesn't have to give a name as an answer.
I feel fine. Thank you very much. How do you feel now, motherfucker? You must answer honestly.
I feel happy.
Really?
Play goes to you.
I do my penance.
Good job, you remembered it.
Anyway, and it's your turn. And
J'accuse. I would like to say that Brother Emmanuel is guilty. You fucking... I can't... Fuck.
Cross them off your list.
Okay.
My turn?
Yep.
I would like to accuse Novice Charles of the Benedictine Order as the murderer.
I've asked you if you have him twice, and you haven't had him, so,
Wait, what is...
he's not... I mean,
You don't have
that
him?
one you put
You
there.
don't have him?
Dude, I put
I
that
don't-
there so
Yeah.
long ago. I forgot.
It's him. It's Novice Charles,
I don't
baby.
get...
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't get how
Yes.
I missed...
It's the long game.
No, I know, but I'm saying I don't get how I missed Brother Emmanuel. Because I asked you multiple times after all of the suspect cards had been drawn. And with the amount that they had been passed and with the amount that I asked, it should have come up.
Brother Emmanuel?
Yeah, of the Franciscans.
I don't know that you ever specifically asked after Brother Emmanuel.
I did, actually. Yeah.
Well, you must have gotten unlucky.
I got rid of him he got on my hand a long time ago. And you see,
I might have just been holding on to
You
him
can-
this whole time.
one of the things
To be
I
honest,
think...
I haven't been paying
No,
attention.
don't quote me on this, guys. I thought years ago I looked up errata on this because one of the questions I thought you could ask a player, which is why I don't ask them, is have you eliminated brother so-and-so from your, as a suspect? And I don't know if that's a valid question or not.
Well,
Have you eliminated Father Bruno from your... So you could have, if you would have said, have you eliminated Manuel? But you're asking in your hand. And I honestly, I have to tell you...
I could have been...
Okay,
that would have been
so
so much easier.
Still, I asked you specifically about Brother Emmanuel because that would have mean that I would have eliminated at that point the Templars and the Franciscans and all except Novice Charles.
Yeah, the Templars, like, you gave me a
Yeah.
boatload.
No,
and I was like,
I got those.
That's not them. Like,
I got Templars done before the first mass.
That's quick.
Yeah.
That's really quick.
I got within my first hand. I eliminated all of the first hand. I had 2 of the novices. I asked you, do you have any Templar novices? You were asking
Yeah.
oh, that's a dumb question. But if you had any, that would mean that all of the novices are not suspect.
That's
because
fair.
I have them.
Yep.
I had 2 of the brothers. He passed me a brother. I looked at a brother, I think from the parlor. So within the first mass, I had Templars eliminated completely, and I had half the Franciscans eliminated.
Right.
The only Franciscan left for the last, I think, 2 or 3 masses on my sheet was Emmanuel, and I'd been asking about him since
That's
then.
weird. I don't see how that could have... Because I looked...
Exactly,
You know, I know I didn't have a whole lot of those guys. I wound up getting, like I said, I inherited a whole bunch of your Templars. But...
I gave you the
Gryphon,
template. Yeah.
You made a revelation earlier.
Yeah, I said it was a Franciscan. I was wrong.
Okay.
Deacon said hooded, which was
right.
correct.
So you got 2
so
points.
Deacon has 2 points. You have
got
4
4.
for correct accusation. I have -1.
Yep.
Okay, just wanted to make sure because I didn't want to make sure nothing caught up to us any other way.
Nope.
So
That's
that's
game, baby.
That is Mystery of the Abbey. Did you like that, Gryphon?
Yeah, that's fun.
I like it because like a lot of people say, well, the replay on that is, it's the same thing every time. It changes because you never know, like, who's going to get what suspect cards. The suspect cards are really the primary driver of, like, how fast or how slow.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's complaining about Clue not having replay value.
Right. You know, and that's what I like about this game is it changes all the time, and you can change your strategy and your investigative approach and how you find out, like, who's got what, and, you know. So, yeah, Days of Wonder, Mystery of the Abbey, it's, it's easily probably over a decade old, but,
Good
you
game.
know, if you want a really fun game to play with multiple players, this is for up to 6 players total, from 3 to 6 players. It's definitely not a 2-player game.
No, I would be a
Look it up.
boring-ass two-player game.
Again, 60 to 90 minutes of gameplay. It took us a little longer because we had to fumble through the rules a bit here. But if you're out there and you catch this, if you caught this live, I hope you enjoyed it. Next time, don't be a lurker. Pop in chat and say hello. We absolutely welcome that. Otherwise, if you catch us on the VOD, we hope you enjoyed this. And if you have any questions, drop us a line. And then you can catch us on Instagram. We'll maybe put some pictures. Well, okay, the board's getting put away now. But
sorry.
No, it's okay. We could just snap a couple of photos. We're going to put some pictures up on Instagram. And you can catch us on Instagram at Black Dragon Tavern Online. You can get us on Twitter, and the handle at Twitter is
at Tavern_Black.
Thank you. That one always trips me up because it's kind of a weird one. We are on Facebook, and that's simply Black Dragon Tavern. You can catch us on Discord, and you can catch us on YouTube as well, but you're going to have to get the links for those on our About page here on Twitter. On Twitch. Because those URLs are a hot mess, as we explain every time we drop the socials here. Once again, thank you to, I can't read it from here, Polymorph, and to Brain Torn Out, and to, don't tell me, it's...
How could you forget his name, dude?
It's because my head is going at 100 miles an hour with other things, and I blame D&D. Lantern Noir. Did not forget. It just took me a minute. I have ADD, and so it's hard to process these things when I get excited. I get other things stuck in my head. And thanks also, again, to Kraken Inferno, because I got a gifted sub there. Or our channel got a gifted sub there, so that's kind of cool. We do this every Friday and Saturday, 8 to 10 p.m. Central. Check us out next weekend, or check us out tomorrow night if you want.
Where we will be live from the workbench.
Yeah,
Fireside Chat.
We'll be doing Fireside Chat, and we'll be doing probably more painting and kit bashing and mini building and whatever.
I don't know what we're doing next weekend for streaming, if we are, because it's
holiday weekend.
It's Thanksgiving already, man.
You know, like usually, like people get fat and happy after eating turkey, and then I would like to stream personally Friday night and Saturday night. I could do it. I mean, totally play games or whatever. I think that'd be a good way to spend a holiday weekend. We got all that time off. Yeah. Anyway, look for us. Look for us online. Yeah. We'll make the drop in the Discord server if you're a member of that. Otherwise, like if you're on Facebook, let us know how you'd like to hear from us and how you want to be notified when we stream. But again, we do this. We do have a schedule, I think, on Twitch as well. Like I said, every Friday and Saturday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. And don't forget to hit that follow button. We love the support. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Hit the end stream.